So, welcome to the show. My name is Brad the Bard, and today I'm coming at you guys from BCBJJ again. My guest, black belt and all-around badass Erik Faust. And that's how you pronounce your last name? Faust. All right, I guessed that right. And a giant shout out to our sponsor today, Vidini. And if you guys like creative writing, horror, and sci-fi, check the link in the description. He has some really cool stuff on his website. But yeah, man, so what's up? We're here at BCBJJ. It's like got Governor Wolf trying to shut down BJJ and all this crazy stuff. What's your opinion on that, man?
I'm over it.
Fucking A, right. Dude, I think I've had this conversation with a lot of people where jiu-jitsu people are generally pretty clean, and this is what we do. It's pretty essential to us. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I feel like there's more mental health problems you get by cutting people off than you have physical problems from 99.9% survival rate.
Yeah.
Virus or whatever.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Fair assessment there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough one, but it's...
Yeah.
At what point do you, like, close everybody's livelihood, you know what I mean, outside of jiu-jitsu or anything?
Yeah,
like,
really.
Where do you draw the line or whatever?
I think, honestly, like, coming out of the beginning of the quarantine, I ended up losing my job, and I definitely was depressed. What brought me out of it was jiu-jitsu, you know? Mm-hmm. It motivated me to take the podcast more seriously, you know, take my whole life more seriously and everything, just because you surround yourself by people who, despite these circumstances, are chasing it. They still are getting after their goals and everything. And I'm saying, I was training with some really, like, high-end dudes. Like, I'm not trying to make jiu-jitsu my living, but they motivated me.
I've seen a surge in just people wanting to have a better awareness of survival or protection or just self-defense or whatever you want to call it, just since the pending doom, you know what I mean? They're like, oh no, I gotta, like, fuck, we better figure out how to, like, survive. Like, people would never use a gun, they're buying guns, or like, they're like, can I learn this jiu-jitsu in like 10 minutes? Or like, should I learn how to box or something?
Yeah, I mean, and then you had a lot of these, like, learn from jiu-jitsu from home things. It's dude, if you're not gonna live roll with any significant people, make sure you're close with the mic as well. Sorry. Yeah, it's all good. But I think there's a lot of things with the significance of that. I think people need to like take more charge of things, like just be more, like we were talking about, like the security cameras and everything. Like, I want a simple solution, this, that, and the other thing. If you're not going to actually take the time, like, I find this with a lot. I'm not trying to hate on my Apple friends, but Apple people are like this a lot in my experience. Not that, you know, Android and iPhone, whatever. There's so many similarities.
Android guy.
Yeah, same. It's just you have a lot of people that just, you know, I can outsource, like, needing to know specific things. Right. It makes you weaker in the end, in my opinion.
I mean, there's certain things you have to, like, insource or whatever you call it. Like, you have to go home by yourself. At the end of the day, like, you open your door by yourself, and whatever happens, you got to deal with that. So you can't, like, pick fights outside of your ability, and things that come to you, you have to be ready to deal with it yourself. You can't go take a class or put your seatbelt on while you're crashing. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. That's a really good point.
To not do jiu-jitsu, you know, like those, like, mystical martial arts things. Like, you try to make yourself competent so that way you can live life. You know what I mean? You never have to do anything.
So what got you into jiu-jitsu? Why did Erik start training BJJ?
Let's see, jiu-jitsu. UFC, like the early ones, like first one, me and a couple guys. Like, I'm 42 now, so 93, I don't know what that makes me, but probably like 14 or something like that. So I had some older friends that watched, like, Aikido jiu-jitsu videos and, like, some early Gracie stuff. And then they'd show me, like, we'd watch the UFC, and then we'd go in their basement, and they just, like, we just roll around and, like, do nothing. You know, we didn't know what we were doing. And then, let's see, I didn't start till 30. So I was late to, like, doing it. I ended up boxing and, like, mainly just skateboarding and doing, like, just not doing that necessarily.
That's interesting. I feel like I started pretty late, but you started actually later than me, like in your age. So what was one of the things, I'm sure you had, like, this in your head, like, I'm too old to start that. What made you decide, you know what, I'm not too old for this?
I mean, at that age, I felt still invincible.
Nice.
Until, like, 32 or so. Like, I was in the gym every day. I boxed for fun. I wouldn't call myself a boxer. I'm technically a pro boxer, but I feel like it's an insult to boxers to call myself a boxer, and I don't do that. But I fought professionally, and I did it just to get that experience. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you don't know who you are until you do certain things like that. Like jiu-jitsu is a good thing, and you find out like, are you going to shit the bed or not? And then you can learn how to stop shitting the bed. Like you put yourself in terrible positions over and over again and just overcome yourself more than anything. Like
the mental thing. So you did like a lot of competition in your early like
I got a motorcycle when I was 4. I started racing motocross when I was 6.
Oh shit!
So I've been getting ambulance rides since like crazy. 5 years old on up.
Yeah.
And then I didn't do a lot of high school stuff or school sports. I wanted to play football and all that stuff. Played baseball, but my dad would take me to motocross every Sunday. So I was like kind of mad that I didn't get to play football, but motocross was way cooler like in hindsight.
Yeah.
But I wanted to like play with the other kids per se. So I would train in football, but I couldn't play any of the games. I had to go to race motocross.
Yeah.
But I feel like motocross and skateboarding were like my main things as a kid, and they translate well to this kind of stuff. Like if you can't, fall hard, you can't really do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, definitely, or judo specifically. That's another example of that. Yeah, that's interesting. I actually, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, it was the first time I ever rode a dirt bike. I'm not good at it. Terrible at it. But it was really interesting to like, it's way more of a workout than you think. Like you think, I just get on this machine and it does all the work for me. No, that's not at all how it works.
It's a machine that you work.
Dude, exactly. Like my legs were like, I was white knuckling the whole time. Like I was so sore. Like, and I ate shit so many times. So I'm like deadlifting this bike on like rocky ground. Like, and it's just
when I first started. So I was like a late bloomer. So I was probably 50, 60 pounds. I had an 80cc bike. I should have been riding a 60 at that time. So my dad got was a 6x6 blocks of wood, put an eye loop in the back and a rope, put one on each side, and then at the whole shot I would stand on them so I could touch the ground. And then when the gate would fall down, I would take off, and then as long as I didn't crash, I was fine. But if I crashed, I couldn't pick my bike up. I had to get help.
Oh shit!
Put me back on the bike and then go again.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's pretty cool.
You can bring your mic like closer to you. Yeah, get comfortable. But yeah, that's interesting. So I asked a mutual friend of ours this question, and I'm curious to hear your answer. I'm sure it's going to be similar, but there's this adage that I'm a big fan of, and it's the best tool at bad men who are skilled at violence is good men who are skilled at violence. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same as like it takes like a certain kind of controlled evil to beat evil in a way, like, or the ability to manifest that, like, there's just certain people who are born to do different things. Like, I feel like for me, a lot of it stemmed back from when I was 12. My dad got killed like in my house.
Oh geez.
So it was like a big murder trial and all that stuff. So somebody invaded my personal space, killed somebody in my family, and then I still don't know who or what or how it would happen. So I don't consciously think about it, but subconsciously I'm sure that was a catalyst to like why I scan rooms or sit in the corner or carry guns or do jiu-jitsu or do box. Like whatever it is, it was fulfilling that space. Like the day I did jiu-jitsu, I was like, I can't have that hole. Like Shane, my first instructor, he just like kicked my ass all over the place, and I was probably all but 200 pounds. I could bench 400, squat 5. Like I wasn't somebody who you could just stick on the floor. And then these people would just smash me, and I was like beating people up on the streets per se, or what, just being a kid, and like I did well in like the quote unquote tough guy world. And then these people who don't necessarily, because jiu-jitsu there's no look of jiu-jitsu. Some computer nerd can just hand you your fucking lunch. So then that happened, and it was just like intellectually I feel like it was like it just fit. You're just like, wow, I want to solve this problem. Like the engineering or like the physics of jiu-jitsu is very like I don't know, just intriguing. Like I like solving the problem without using a bigger hammer. Like trying to figure out how to like build the pyramids. You know what I mean?
It's so funny. Like right now, like we were discussing the last time I was here. Like you had an injury, but you're still doing like guard retention stuff insanely well. And it was crazy how you're using grips in so many different ways. And when you're at such a high level as yourself, you can really break down the martial art and like play these mini games inside.
Well, I think the injuries, like I wouldn't want them.
Yeah.
Because it stopped me from like competing. It stopped me from being like the force I wanted to be in jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to like show it this way, but then now I was forced to like just get beat because I couldn't physically solve the problem. Like I couldn't put my arm there and stop it anymore. So then you have to sit there and be like, all right, well, what's the real leverage I need to solve this problem? Or how do I do actual jiu-jitsu? Because everybody like tries to do as little jiu-jitsu as possible and get away with everything else, I think, in the beginning. And so then being injured and having like giant weaknesses allow you to just find a better understanding, just like a deaf person can do something better or blind. So I think connection-wise, I found like better ways to stay connected without using so much strength. And then guard-wise, I couldn't just hold you there, so I had to figure out how to be mobile and like still feel strong. You know what I mean?
It's so cool how you like you're separating the muscle groups even further. Like I feel like I have good ability to separate. You know, I can maintain a guard and fight your feet while I'm working on your arms. But
Right.
man, you're going down to the fingers, working for like your separation from limbs is like drastically different. So
it's
cool.
kind of like arc welding and TIG welding. And you're doing all that extra stuff. Like,
hell yeah, man. That's awesome stuff. So what made you decide jiu-jitsu over boxing though? Like what was it that was the catalyst that made you just decide, oh, like grappling is like a complete game changer?
Say like I never like chose one per se, but I started off with Taekwondo, kind of like everybody did back then, and then Okinawan Kempo and all these different things, and it was a lot of fun. And then got a little older. At the time, Kermit Cintron was big around here, and I was boxing at a King's gym, so we were all like, I think we just left one of his fights, and somebody was like, hey, you should fight. And I'm like, I'll fight. You know, I'm like, when do you want to fight? Like, I'll try it.
Yeah.
So then Marshall has Kings. He was like, yeah, I'll get you a fight or whatever, so come to the gym on Monday. So I sparred once for like a minute and a half, got beat up. Like a couple of days later, he's like, I got you a fight in Delaware. Do you want it? I was like, sure. At the time, I was like 165. He's like, the fight's at 152. So I cut down. I spent literally like a week just cutting weight. I learned how to box sort of in that week. Drove to Delaware, turned pro at the ring, got my physical and everything there. And they're like, here, sign this paper. Okay, you're a boxer. Went in, obviously didn't win. And then I couldn't retire 0-1. So I ended up doing another one like 2008, and I won that one.
Nice.
But I think it was just more the experience. It's like same reason why I did the tactical games and stuff like that. It's more, you don't know if you can stand there and take those punches and throw them back or walk into the ring and handle it until you do. So I don't want to be in the middle of an alley and then go, oh, man, I can't handle myself. I shouldn't be here. So I feel like it's just such a good thing to, just like jiu-jitsu, we play out all these bad scenarios. You fight out of bad spots. You essentially tap and die over and over and over again so that you don't have to, you know, for real. Yeah,
definitely.
Even if it's just to know, like, your own place. Like, maybe you're like a jerk and you just talk out of your ass. And you start learning that you're not that guy to talk like that.
It's a very humbling activity to do. I definitely had way more of an ego before BJJ. Yeah, like night and day.
If I would view all the guys over the last like 12 years or so of like why they started, myself included, like it was primarily like tough guy stuff, and then people leave like trying to find the science, or like they're just over like beating people for sake of beating. It's more like, man, don't make me like do this to you. Like, I don't want to hurt you, just chill. Like, so I think it's a real better, or a way better like mentality. But it's confidence that helps people be better that way.
It's interesting. I had this conversation with a friend of mine where we were discussing, once you are competent, capital G over here, but we were discussing how knowing martial arts generally makes you more diplomatic in some way, where because you know, man, like, don't make me use this. I don't want to use this. I'm going to be the one that gets looked at like an asshole if I have to use this on a guy that's not trained, kind of thing.
Well, if you noticed, I found a huge epiphany from bouncing in my 20s, like challenging myself with people that came in or handling certain things ego-wise or testing. And then I bounced a year ago, right before the COVID thing, like a Thanksgiving weekend, like that crazy day. And we had to throw a couple people out at a local bar, and it was so much simpler. Like, the fight never happened. The difference between, like, when somebody stands up and you look in their eyes and they know what they're there for. They're not questioning whether or not, like, hey, do you want to calm down? They're like, hey, you got to stop doing this or you're done. And then, like, just the approach, and then you don't realize how many angles you defeat and, like, the way you close the distance, and then you're on them, that they don't have time to even start fighting with you. They already quit before it happens. And then that makes a better situation versus me pumping him up, and then we go outside and fight. And then you're just a bouncer who's a bully, causing a fight. And then you're not really better than the guy who was fighting you.
Can you talk a little bit about your strategy? Like, how do you sneak up on a guy and kind of catch him off guard and make him realize, hey, I need to not do it?
This wasn't so much sneaking. It's more like confidence. So think of, like, the difference between, like a police officer, for instance. Say if you have a brand new cop who's super insecure, it's never really been taught how to walk up to a car. And you got, like, a guy in a car who's kind of rowdy, and they walk up insecure, and they're like, hey, sir, like, they're asking, like, please give me your license and registration if you can, you know what I mean? And then versus, like, somebody who's seasoned, they walk up and they're like, hey, I need this, this, and this. This is how it's going to go. And they don't have to say all that. Their vision, their stance, their position states how everything's going to go. Yeah. And then you're more inclined to follow that lead versus, like, leaving slack. It's kind of like if I pass your guard and I seal everything off, I don't have to worry about you escaping. If I, like, pass it crappily and hold you loose, now I'm leaving an environment for you to do whatever you want. And then it's safer for both of us if I just put you where I need you, because as a white belt or something, they're going to spaz out and do weird things. So if that guy in the car does weird things and the other guy's insecure, now you have one of those weird situations. Same with, like, bouncers or whatever. But if the guy who's in charge, the guy who's bouncing, the cop or whoever, has to be the guy leading the dance. Yeah. And, like, if you say fuck you, I have to be like, come on, man, like, we don't have to go there. I can't just punch you in the face because now I've started the fight. Yeah. And I think that's how people they get emotional. And if I'm just doing a job, there shouldn't really be emotion as far as me throwing you out. Or
exactly. That's awesome, man. That's a really informed take. Mm-hmm. Do you have any stories you can share where you used BJJ in a real world situation?
The first time, let's see, I was a white belt, I guess, and we went to this bar. I'll just leave out, like, people and stuff. So we go to this bar, and it was like a friend's birthday, so there was, like, a bunch of us there. We're at a strip club, and some guy he had, like, a New York hat on, and, like, he was just sitting there, kept, like, staring towards our way. So he came over and, like, sat at my table and, like, just started, like, acting weird or whatever. I'm like, can I help you? Like, you know, he's like, go.
It was you and your friends, and he just sat
we had, like, a private table. Like, it's not our table, but, you know, like, if you buy the spot or whatever, like, this is where we're sitting. Like, nobody else can technically sit there. Yeah. So he was like, oh, well, what's up? Like, why can't I sit here? Blah, blah, blah. And we're like, well, it's not your table. Like, why would you sit with people you don't know? Just go away. And then he got, like, an attitude. So he leaves. It wasn't necessarily a big deal. Then he just kept staring, kept dealing. He came over again. We ended up getting in, like, a scuffle. I learned a valuable lesson of don't try to punch somebody in a fixed, like a diner table? Yeah. So, the chair's fixed to here. So I went to throw my arm, my hip caught the table. Oh. Shortened my hook. So then I missed him. He hit me with a bottle.
Oh, my God. That's crazy.
A couple other people.
Did it break?
No, it didn't break. Just split my eye open. And then somebody tackled him. I saw the bottle. I grabbed the bottle out. And there was the weirdest thing, like this big, like, light and, like, slow motion came. It was like Max Payne. You hit the button.
Yeah, dude.
And all of a sudden he's facing away from me. And he's probably, like, if I'm 5'10", he's 5'8". So it's just perfect, like, rear naked choke kind of, like, size. Oh. So I would just, like, whoosh, and then, like, it was still slow motion to here. As soon as I got it in and then locked it, like, went to real time. and I hear people like, kill him or choke him or do whatever. Nobody else I was with even knows what jiu-jitsu is, so they don't even know what I'm doing. I barely know what I'm doing at this point. And then I just squeezed, and he just like went out in my arms. I was just like, holy shit,
this works.
I was like, wow, it was like the first time knocking somebody out. Yeah. And being like, oh man, I don't have to take shit anymore. Look at these things. So it was like it was a cooler knockout because it felt like you didn't have to hurt the guy. Yeah. If you didn't want to. Like you could do whatever you want, and then it doesn't matter what they're doing or how big they are or what, you just turn them off. And then like, I like that ability to, I don't know, like it's more demoralizing. Like getting knocked out is an amazing thing to do, and it sucks when it happens to you. But if you're consciously awake while somebody holds you against your will, as a man, I feel like that's worse. You know what I mean? Like when you get like, you against like a amazing black belt, and you're just like, I'm a child, I don't even know what to do. Yeah, for real. I've been there. Like you can, like Mike Tyson can knock you out, and you're like, oh, that was terrible. You know what I mean? But like Mike Tyson holding you in the corner, thinking about punching you, that's scarier than like, so like you're stuck.
Because
like,
the suspense of the doom is way more intimate.
So I feel like that like control is like what I seek out of jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Speaking of Tyson, what did you watch the Tyson?
I did. Yeah. Better than I thought it would be, honestly.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
I'm like, but there's two like 60-year-old dudes banging. That's like,
for real. It was,
your grandfather can't do that.
Yeah, for real. I thought the production was really cool too. Like it sucks that there wasn't an audience, and it was interesting. Like I feel like they were pumping in audio of an audience there. I noticed that.
Well, that's the new COVID thing.
Yeah, right. It's so weird. But I thought like the lighting and everything was really cool. Yeah.
They put a lot of money in. Yeah. I don't know how they got paid though, because a lot of the streams didn't go through, so I'm assuming they had to give some of that money back.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I know like there was a lot of like sponsors and stuff. Like I think there was like, you had Snoop Dogg there. I think he has that the Weed Maps thing, and I saw that all over the place. But there was another there was another thing I noticed that he was talking about where. Or not, he wasn't talking about, but Snoop is involved with high rollers. You know about high rollers, the jiu-jitsu thing? Yeah, that was an interesting thing that I noticed. Like Snoop is really involved with martial arts, and I never realized that till just recently. Yeah. Yeah, the last finishers tournament, some guys that did the high rollers, because Ricky, the guy I was teaching, he has a rash guard from there, and then we ended up talking to these guys about it, and all in all, pretty cool tournament. Like, oh, you were at one of them?
No, but just talking to the guy about it. Like, it seems like a fun tournament. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool when stuff like this, you can just have a good time. Like, it doesn't always have to be about like winning and losing to the extreme. It's just like getting together. Like the amount of community networking I've done, like with the gun stuff and everything else, there's so much overlap. Like,
it's crazy. I think that is one thing that I have to give a lot of credit to jiu-jitsu too in my life. I've met a wealth of different people, and generally there's drama in everything. Oh, yeah, you know what I mean? If you're digging for it, you're going to find drama in any group of people. But man, like the maturity in jiu-jitsu is crazy compared to a lot of other like younger arts that I have been involved with.
It's the proving of it.
Yeah, man.
You can like, and I love striking, so I don't want to like sound negative or whatever, but like I feel like you can go in and like hit the heavy bag and like do like a pad work thing and then like flex and then walk out. You know what I mean? Like, so like if you don't spar, you know, nobody knows. And then like, it's hard to like do a solo jiu-jitsu thing to impress anybody. Like you have to go use somebody else. So you get exposed right away. Like, and you know how it is. Like nobody comes into a gym. Like you better be the best if you're going to talk shit. 'Cause you're going to like that quiet kid in the corner is going to rape you.
Yeah, for real, dude. It happens, man. I've seen it so many times. I really enjoy, like, you probably have had this happen 10 times, as many times as I have. But, like, this guy will come in that's, like, a tough, like, oh, I'm former military. I'll know, like, some McMap, like, Army combatives thing. Like, I'll fuck you guys up. That kind of attitude when he comes in the gym. And, like, you have the girl over here that's a blue belt that shits on.
Like, so I don't argue that you need to do specific training. Like, you can't just train sport jiu-jitsu, for lack of better words, if you're looking to use it for, you know, an application that is fighting based. You know what I mean? Like you're going to have to modify, but all of jiu-jitsu is still going to make you better at all of that. Like,
yeah.
if you just take the average person, give them 10 years of jiu-jitsu and never really teach them how to fight per se, they're still going to be better off than they were. Like, they understand motion. But, like, if you want to learn how to survive in an environment where the standard is higher, or like, you know, there's
the stakes.
Yeah, like then you're going to have to learn how to strike. You're going to have to learn how to shoot. You're going to have to learn how to survive or do whatever you need to do.
Definitely. We were discussing this last time I was here as well. You were telling me that you had an exercise where you have like this paint knife or something like that, where you would have two guys like have to fight over the knife, like it's in the middle.
Yeah, lunch class was. Sorry, I want to cut you off.
Yeah, no. You go ahead. You go ahead.
I was going to say that. Yeah, so we would do it in
silence
lunch
that?
class.
It's probably my phone. That was my bad. Thank you. Sorry about that. Jeez. I'm usually on top of that. We just did so much before.
So yeah, they
you could mute it. So, thank you. Sorry.
We just had like a regular plastic knife, so like rubber knife. So then every now and then lunch class was like smaller, so we would just sit around and I'd be like, hey guys, you want to like play around with some different ideas? So, and I'm no like knife disarmament expert or like necessarily like a weapons guy like that. But it's interesting to take black belt through white belt and see the mental change in just putting a inanimate like rubber knife that then you mentally view as real and try not to get cut. And then the amount of like silly movement / inappropriate non-jujitsu, non-making sense, anything.
Just
people just go,
you know
what I mean? And then realizing that you probably shouldn't get in a knife fight because you're going to get cut no matter how good you are. Like, unless you're like, you know, you're John Wick and they're nobody, but like,
for real.
Outside of just getting stabbed quick and then running away, like I wouldn't want to just like sword fight somebody. That shit seems super dangerous.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, especially if you're not wearing like some protective thing.
Yeah.
What do you think the most practical martial art is in a knife fight? Like to know, besides whatever the martial art is for that they use for karambits.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm probably not the. I'm not an expert in that. So
yeah, I mean, just your opinion. Like you're more informed than the average guy.
Just studying all of it and then keeping it simple. Like when I think of weapons, if you look at the guys, it's just like anything else. If you watch a video, you want to get good at jiu-jitsu, you're not watching the video where the guy trucks him, rolls over 3 times, changes legs, then does a cartwheel, goes from his neck, grabs his arm, and then toe holds him. Like nobody pulls that off in a competition or in a fight. So then I would want the guy who's teaching how to be onto the threat, like, if somebody has a knife, I'm going after the knife and I'm maintaining that knife and making sure that knife doesn't go on my body and trying to get it away from them. You don't have to be like whoosh, whoosh, do all this ninja shit. I feel like you're just gonna get yourself stabbed. Like, don't even bother training with those people or like that kind of stuff. Like, just with Phil and everything else. Like there's so many people, just like there's jiu-jitsu guys that spell their stuff differently or like don't really teach jiu-jitsu, or they used to be a karate guy who now is like, oh, I have a ground fighting system. It's like you don't learn knife fighting from that guy either because he's going to get you stabbed. That's why I don't teach knife fighting, because I'm like, I wouldn't be able to give you the proper information. Like I'm still playing with
like
that,
casually we can discuss like my opinion kind of thing.
To me, I'm like, well, you shouldn't let him get there and shoot him,
Fuck yeah,
stab him first.
That's awesome. Do you wanna break out the toys?
Sure. I mean,
do you wanna? Alrighty. So I'll start here because this is something interesting. Anyone who is a fan of me knows like I'm a guitarist, right? So I recently ordered a custom Kiesel guitar from Kiesel in California, and it's a headless guitar, and it's a pretty short size case. It's like, this is not a conventional guitar. It's because it doesn't have a headstock, but I found out today my AR perfectly fits in this case. So, bust this open.
Now we can be nerds and play with our toys.
That's right in there. So how neat is that? It just fits right in there. I can put like a bunch of mags in there if I wanted to. But yeah, we can like, did you throw this guy up? Cool. We have like a little webcam we're going to have over here. So right now you have your pistols over there. Do you want to kind of talk through your weapons a little bit? Maybe I'll like throw mine over there.
Sure. I mean, nothing super fancy there. They can see that, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, is that up?
Cool. So the tan one's just a a Glock 19X. With people who aren't familiar with that, it's a Glock 19, essentially the slide, and it has a Glock 17 frame, so it's a bigger like hand, like purchase a little better. Yeah, it's nice for doing classes and stuff like that. Whereas the 19 there, the Gen 5 is a 19 all the way around, so the grip's a 19, so it's a little smaller. Yeah, that's a little easier to conceal, but wintertime that's fine too. But profile wise, they're the same gun.
Yeah, I think like the 23 is what I have.
Mm-hmm.
I will just clear that.
23 is a 40.
Yes. Yeah.
I had the 27 before. The small one.
Is that a 40 as well? Yeah. But mine, like I really want to go. I'm gonna like move over a little bit just so we can. Yeah, just so we can kind of discuss like your dimpling, right? So you actually took a soldering iron, and I think you're one of the only people I know that does this himself. But you actually took like a soldering iron and did all the grip work here, and it feels so good.
The main thing that helps is like, so if you see on yours here, how square this, I don't know.
Yeah.
So if you can see how square this is, they call it Glock knuckle. So you get
Glock knuckle
like from having this, and this just cuts into your hand and gets sore. So then with this, I took a Dremel and cut all this out.
Nice.
So not only can I get my purchase up higher, so then if you look at the physics of the gun, if I'm here, and this is hard to hold, so if you can get your hand essentially up to the bore, then
it's going right in.
There's less of this. Yeah. So this helps you get farther up / comfortable, and this is cut out so you can lay this here, and it just kind of helps the whole grip come together. Nice. So when you come here, you're here, and then it all comes out.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So how long have you been shooting, or like seriously shooting, I guess? I should get the mic pretty close.
I got a gun pretty much as soon as I got a motorcycle, so I've been shooting forever.
Yeah.
But my dad died when I was 12, so I had lost like the shooting mentor per se pretty early, and then I just kept up with guns, but I was never. It was kind of the same thing with my self-defense. I assumed I was a tough guy based on winning fights, not based on my actual knowledge of fights. And then
that's like
as you get better, you realize that people who you're fighting aren't good, and then you fight people who are better. And then like the biggest epiphany was the first class I did with Phil.
Vigor training for those of you that don't know who Phil is.
He was on the show.
Yeah, he was on the show. Yeah, not a couple of weeks ago. Like he was on. I think he was last year.
Was it that long?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah. I had him recently. We did one of his courses, but I interviewed him ages ago. Yeah.
So then basically we had talks. He started coming and training with me, and we started like trading skills back and forth. He was like, "I'll come out to this Leo only thing." So I showed up, and I was like, "Should I bring gear?" He said, "Yeah, you can do the class." It was so bad. I had this tactical 45 that I was using because I was still a 45 guy at that time.
Yeah.
I had this like makeshift holster that didn't even like work right just to like do the class, and like just I didn't shoot very often for probably 4 or 5 years going up to that.
Yeah.
And I arguably wasn't any good, and I found that out that day. So I could do like a lot of other people who've shot. You could sit there at a target and
square
and hit decent paper shots, but then moving and dealing with all this stuff that comes with the gun, reloads and all this crazy stuff, I was just fumbling all over the place. I felt like I was going to drop my gun.
Yeah.
And then just the mental stress of everything.
So you've done a few of Phil's courses?
Probably 10 at this point, maybe more. And
then like this is a question that I have. Like I'm actually legitimately curious. What was your favorite one?
The AVD.
Yeah, dude, it was so fun.
The grounded wounded. I got lucky because I got to do civilian and
LEO,
So like, there's little changes. It's honestly the same information. Like people think like police get some secret ninja stuff, and realistically, fundamentals are fundamentals, and like, it's more, I would say, scenario based. Like you're just like, okay, well, you have this job, and these people have this job. So a civilian's not going to be carrying their AR with body armor in their car, ready to like rock and roll. They're going to have to come from concealment and deal with, life or whatever. So
it makes a lot of sense.
It's just like jiu-jitsu or self-defense like we talked about before. Or what do you need? Like, what's your end goal? Like, if you come to me and you're like, hey, I want to learn how to better myself. I'm like, well, what does that mean to you? Do you want to lose 20 pounds and just be in shape? Do you want to never fear anything? You know what I mean? Like then you're going to have to seek out everything and fill all those spaces. Like, to me, a pivotal thing that Phil said to me that changed everything, we were rolling, and he was like, oh, man, I really need to keep distance between you. He's like, I feel a lot safer at 25 yards.
Yeah.
You know, he's like a beast. So
yeah, dude.
At 50 yards, he can, you know, tag you up in A-zone all day long. So at that time, I definitely couldn't do that. So then I was like, shit, if somebody gets away and then they, boom, I'm done. Like, they can end that. And I didn't, just like starting jiu-jitsu, I couldn't have that hole in my game. So then now, a couple years later, doing the courses and just fine-tuning some things I already knew, and then Phil's excellent with just, you know, coaching you on
oh, dude, he's
what you need
so
to do.
Good, man.
And now I've come out of concealment, like in sub-second on A-zone steel, you know, 10 yards or whatever. Nothing crazy, no sharpshooter stuff, but it's just repetition and just knowing when you bring your gun out, you practice. So when it's here and you pull the trigger, it's just at that same spot it's always at. And
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I was just like saying like a second ago under my breath, dude, it's night and day. This cut, I need to do that.
Doesn't it feel?
Dude, it's like I touch mine and it's like, whoa, like I feel like you said Glock knuckle. I never heard that term.
That's the kind
and
of
I
stuff
feel
in
it.
my
I feel like I don't even. There's no definition for it in the dictionary. You gotta feel it.
In my opinion, somebody's
Yeah,
gonna be
dude.
like, oh, well, this fancy Gucci gun is exponentially more because it's a little more comfortable. But you can literally do everything to this gun. Like, for one, these two, so this has a red dot on it. This doesn't.
Yeah, I noticed.
So these slides come right off, and I can put one on the other one. So now I can have this with a red dot and this with that.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's so many. If you don't like the triggers, you can get a different trigger. If you don't like the mag release, you get a different mag release. You get different sights. Like, so you can build a Glock to whatever you want. And I don't know, I see a lot of high-level shooters shoot them, and
they swear by them. The aftermarket is huge, so that's another thing. Let me ask you this. This is kind of just a curiosity I have. I wonder, like, let me ask your opinion, because maybe something like this exists. But what would you do if someone came and said, hey, I'd like to train like jiu-jitsu with a gun involved? Like if you had like a trainer gun, like put away or something, like how would you train it? Would you like use a Nerf gun or something? Like,
you can use blue guns.
So
they have, like,
but I feel like
ones.
you would need the masks though, you know?
Well, it depends. If you want to use, you could just use the blue guns that don't fire.
Yeah,
or you could
okay,
use
fair
the
enough.
sim guns.
Yeah.
You could use paintball guns or you could just use like blanks to a certain degree.
Yeah.
It really depends on, like, if you just had a class, I'd be more like cautious. If I was like,
For sure.
say you and me were here and we cleared the room.
Yeah.
We got rid of all possible ammo, and then like we could introduce like we could roll with these or whatever, and like work on retention.
Yeah, like where like appendix carry, rear carry. Where
I have like a plastic one in there. Same with the knife thing. So what we would do is say I'd have you and him rolling, and then we'll either have the threat come out organically, like you're like, oh, fuck, a knife, and then you have to deal with it, or I'll yell threat, and then as soon as I say that, knife's in play or gun's in play. So now
so the guy that has it, he can start drawing.
He starts to attack you, and then you have to figure out
address that.
What's the like right thing to do.
Yeah.
And you'll find like you fail a lot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's crazy.
It's mind-blowing.
It's life and death, right? Like the stakes are way higher. Everyone's doing.
To me, it's like rock climbing. So you would know this analogy. Like, you know when you're on a belaying system, you're not gonna fall. You got your best friend doing it. You know you're safe. But when you jump and you try to catch something and you fall, you still fall. You're like,
yeah, 100%.
So you can't help yourself. I think to a certain degree. I think you can exposure therapy it to it.
Yeah.
But that like sense of like, you're like, oh no, it's real.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, like you love Glock. Can you give me the reasoning behind what is this, like your comp gun, and that's why you got the hollow sun on that, and you're going straight off irons here? I even see you have the fiber optic guy here.
No,
I want to get something like this.
I don't have a comp gun because I'm not. I've done one competition. I would like to do more.
You said you do it in a tactical game.
I did the tactical games.
What is that? I never heard of that.
That is. It was awesome.
It sounds fucking awesome.
Essentially, CrossFit with guns.
What? That sounds awesome.
So a friend of mine, Ben Brown, they has Wiseman Company. So
yeah.
if you're looking at gun stuff, check them guys out. And Lunar Concepts.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
all the
I know
parts
Lunar,
I have,
yeah.
like all the slings, like just about everything is from those guys, and they're local and amazing. So
yeah.
I went with Ben. He had said, hey, you should try this tactical games. He came and did jiu-jitsu once. And he did it the year before. It was basically running, jumping, climbing, shooting kind of thing. So then you get judged on
like
time.
you're slung, like you have your rifle slung, and
basically I drove to Mississippi, or we went down there. There was like a bunch of us. There's expert, intermediate, and then women's, and there was masters. So it wasn't old enough to be masters.
Yeah,
and I wasn't.
That's
good
like
enough
old
to be
dudes, like in
expert,
jiu-jitsu.
So I was just intermediate.
Yeah.
So basically, 45 days notice. My shooting wasn't up to par. This was like right when I met Phil and started doing it. So we did like a crash course of like trying to get me rifle ready.
Yeah.
I was more of a pistol guy. And then I had to start running. So the loadout was plate carry had to be 15 pounds or more. And then your gear, you can have whatever. So then it's a pistol and a rifle, 9mm and .223. So I had this guy that we put together for it. And this Glock, and then Phil loaned me some other stuff. I didn't even have all the gear, like a Safari Land.
Oh yeah.
So then essentially you have 3 heats per day. So we'd go in. Essentially, the first one was 50-pound sandbag.
Yeah.
So you throw that on your shoulder, sprint 50 yards, climb a rope, climb back down while you're in full kit with your gun and everything.
Yeah.
Then run up a hill. Then pull out your pistol, shoot, like steal at 25 yards. Every missed shot's 10 seconds added to your time.
Oh no!
So now you're running 4 times, so you have to keep a pace, but you can't outpace yourself and then miss shot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So then now
that's interesting.
So then
I want to try that so bad.
Who wins, like the ultimate shooter or the ultimate athlete? But it always ends up being the combo. Cause my rifle game was weak, so I was dropping crazy shots. So then maybe I run, I'm like in first place, and then all of a sudden you're like ding, 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 and you miss all these shots, and now you're like, it's like you ran backwards for 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the amount of stuff I learned on my equipment and myself, as far as most of us like LARP with our stuff, you know what I mean? Like, to be honest, like people buy all this gear and they're like, ooh, range. And like nobody does anything.
Yeah.
So like myself included, and I went there, and shit failed. Like I couldn't get my sling, I couldn't get my gun off because my sling got caught on the bottom of my plate carrier.
Oh,
so
man.
just think, if you're like in a gun battle, you can't move your rifle. So I had to like
That's
take
real.
it off like underwear. And then
yeah, dude.
And then you start shooting, or like your mag falls out, and you're like, and then you get a double feed, and then there's stress, and there's all this shit and noises, and it was a really nice way to like introduce that in a safe environment.
Yeah.
And then try doing a 250-yard shot on a red dot after running 2 miles.
Yeah, that's wild, dude.
So like, obviously I didn't do great, but it was amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds super fun. If you next time you do one, you should hit me up, because I'm kind of interested. I'll totally go to Mississippi to do that. So something I personally do, and I'm curious of your take. Maybe you have some cool ideas I could take home today. And everyone else can too. Something I do when I go to the range, we do a lot of, to your point, like no one runs their shit, and they like do a lot of LARPing. A lot of the guys I try to train with, we do things with intention. Kind of the same thing with jiu-jitsu. Like, hey, you know what? Today I'm going to focus on leg locks. I want to make sure my inventory rolls are tight, or whatever it might be. We'll have each other load each other's mags and throw like a dummy in there. You know what I mean? And we'll constantly like do a thing where we'll have to run from, cover to cover in some scenarios and stuff. What are some drills that you do that are kind of real world that help you prepare, that you've noticed actually, improve your intuitive nature behind the weapon?
Probably outside of dry firing was like the
dry
biggest.
Firing the shit out.
That was like the best thing Phil probably taught me. Like, it's one of those things you wouldn't think until somebody good tells you like that people spend time doing that. And then being able to get your gun in the fight and keep it in the fight. You know what I mean? So like being able to go in front and hit bullseyes is cool. It's like, but what does that mean if you can't do that for real? Like when you need to, it's just like if you can drill a Kimura, but you can't ever tap somebody with it. So then for me, I was doing things like simple movements where maybe if I was indoor and there was nobody there, like at CB Tactile, they would let me go. Like we also work together. So shout out to them as well. Like I would do, like when I was getting ready for the tactical games, they'd let me go inside and then I would set up multiple targets and either like sprint or like sprint and then turn around and try to like gain my composure and like shoot under the stress, or like just move and like try to like reload on the move and then be ready when I'm at the next spot. Same thing with like the weird loadouts on the mag. So you go and you're like ready in the game, you're shooting, and all of a sudden you have like a malfunction or whatever. Now you have to clear that and get back on and try to, you know, put yourself on time or whatever. Like do as many things as you can do to safely make yourself fail in that environment, so that way you can take that information back. Like the one class that Phil has, I added one of these, and it's fine on this gun, but I took it off on here because I don't know if it's something with the Gen 4-ish, because the 19X isn't like a Gen 4 or a 5. It's its own thing. I don't know if it just doesn't work in there, but you can watch the one on my YouTube, or not YouTube, on Facebook, I believe. I come out, I put the mag in, and I bring it up and I shoot, the mag falls out. Yeah. And I'm in the car and I'm like, fuck. And I'm getting the mag and I come back, I shoot again, and the mag falls out again. And like it happens like 4 times.
That's
and I'm
so
like,
funny.
The reality of that is like, if you're on the job,
it's a good thing you ran your gun,
whoever, or like self-defense. Like, if I would have been using that gun and just bought those parts off the internet and be like, oh, cool, my gun looks so Gucci. Yeah. And then somebody breaks in, I'm like,
oh shit.
You know, I mean, like it was cool to see shooting from a different level. Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned the mag drop thing, because I experienced that at Phil's AVD course with the blue guns.
Sometimes,
well, dude, the blue guns he has have the same mag release as mine. So this one's recessed in, which is so nice because you don't really need to break your grip. I have to kind of slide in a little bit to get it. His were extended.
You have to like flip the gun.
Well, yeah, I do. But his weren't. They were like kind of, they were big and out there. That sticks out. Yeah. So like I had it and I dropped the mag and I'm like, no, and he fucked me up.
The other thing I used to do with this was getting such a good purchase up here. I'd put this on this, and the slide lock wouldn't have it.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to bite yourself.
Well, I mean, I'd get bite back here, but this, like, I'd be pushing so hard here when I first, like, started trying to work on grips that I would just push this so it would always just cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny, man. It's one of those things, like, just like you said, you have to run it under some sort of legitimate scenario before you realize, oh, this modification maybe isn't the best for me. Yeah. And it's fun. That's a good segue. I actually, a good friend of mine just got me this early Christmas present, the ambidextrous slide release lever here, and that thing's pretty sweet. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I had heard warnings from other friends of mine.
Hey, buddy.
Oh man! But I had heard warnings from some of my friends that said, be careful with gloves with this, because you'll accidentally hit it all the time and things like that.
Well, that's all the stuff like you'll find out, because there's a lot of things you think you like. You know what I mean? Like you
definitely.
Like this thing was like a product of like trial and error, so I just kept adding stuff. Like when I first got it, I was telling you before, I had the quad rail and it was like kind of old school heavy, and then I was ready to just buy a new gun. And then like talking to Phil, he's like, "Oh, you can do this, you can do that." And my buddy Mark was like helping me with stuff, and then through Phil, like Velocity Trigger.
Yeah, that trigger is really nice.
That made a huge difference.
You're right on the wall, like right when you get on that guy.
This SBA 3 brace is amazing. And then your red dot's up to you. Like I've had these EOTechs from before. It's like a old school one.
Yeah, I dig it, man.
At the time, I wanted it because it's
AA batteries.
You always have the ability to get them, but then it's kind of big and clunky. Like the newer ones are kind of nicer and
more sleek kind of a design.
But I wanted mainly the weight, and I don't know if see your grip angle.
Yes,
I hate that.
What specifically? What?
So now pick yours up and hold your, just like go here and like do like a short, like think, so now feel how canted your hand is.
Okay.
So now hold this with a pistol grip. So now the grip itself.
I feel that.
It's like riding a crotch rocket on here.
Yeah. I do notice
this,
that.
You feel like it like makes your hand. This is more relaxed. It's more like a 1911 or like a pistol grip.
You're gonna have to send me a link to this, so I might pick that up. I like this here. What's this all about?
You could put like batteries or something in there.
That's pretty neat. Oh, cool. I see it. Yeah, I know how pain of an ass they can be. Yeah, man, I really like the paint job and stuff. You did this paint job yourself?
Mm-hmm.
That's freaking sweet, man. I was thinking about doing like a woodland kind of thing on like I have a Winchester like lever action thing. I'm thinking about like making it my hunting.
Spray can.
Yeah, that's all you did?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's really like sleek. Like you were kind of discussing earlier today about how you removed your other rails to cut up on the weight. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things. A lot of people want it to look as fancy as can be, right?
Well, if you look at the old, it's kind of like the same thing, like a white belt versus a black belt. Like you want all this stuff. You know?
Yeah.
Like when you first started, like, can I buy all the bags? Can I buy the keychain or whatever? So then the old school like gun mentality was, if you see some of those memes where they have like 5 lasers, 4 flashlights, that was like the old school, like just build this tank of a gun. And that's
two,
how, like,
2 bipods.
Like when I stopped shooting, per se, it was like that.
Yeah.
And now I feel like this gun is like so much more streamlined. Like it doesn't cost me energy to hold it.
Yeah.
And then the slings, I never like really used a sling before, but that's like so much like I don't have to hold my gun. So now like learning how to, same with the injuries, I couldn't muscle guns anymore either. So I have to like really use the leverage. So you start learning how to like.
That makes, I like that. It's got that. Where did you get that?
This is Lunar Concepts.
Oh man, that's
These
cool.
are like,
my buddy, the same guy that got me the ambi thing, the bad lever, he uses one by T-Rex Arms. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. Yeah, that's it's like got the same kind of thing on this.
So now you can move.
Yeah, totally, dude. Yeah, that's freaking sweet, man. Speaking of like straps, an example that comes to mind of like a real situation where it was necessary that kid in Wisconsin that ended up shooting that guy at that riot, like he had his strap on, and that's the only reason like the one guy wasn't able to rip his gun away. You know what I mean? It's just a crazy situation. What's your take on that whole situation that happened down there anyway?
I don't know if
kid was like underage with the rifle from a different state.
Trying to think of the details now. I can't say I have enough information. I'm like not good with the mainstream news, a lot of stuff, unless I dig into it. It was really controversial. I think at the end of the day, man, everyone that was there was a jackass for being there. Yeah, I mean it's so hard, like when you look at like a self-defense thing where like the gun ends up doing like the right thing, but then the circumstances are wrong, or the person wasn't justified in the way they went about it. Like, it's like anything else. I think it's how it plays out, and then how you like handle it. Like, but it's hard in self-defense. It's like when you talk about like teaching somebody moves, and they're like, "Oh, well, what happens if I do this?" I'm like, "Well, you get in trouble." Yeah. But like, you have to use that move when it's you or them. Like, you don't go out to Walmart and club people over the head because you want to learn or practice. You know what I mean? Like, for real. If somebody's like, "I'm going to kill you tonight and take your family from you," then like, there's certain moves you might consider doing, or like you'll take it farther or whatever. Like maybe 100%. You shoot that guy or whatever. Like nobody wants to, but that's like just part of the preparation. Yeah, definitely, man. And just like to your point, nobody wants to. Like, I feel like once you are able to harness the capabilities of these tools like jiu-jitsu or firearms, you like. I remember it was funny. I was sitting there the one day just like practicing like dry firing with like empty mags and just cycling the mags and everything. I just looked at my friend, and I said, like, I would hate to need to use these skills. Like, this is the last thing I want to need to know how to do. Like, this is fucked up. Like, I'm really more well prepared than anyone I would have to use this. Like, I feel like I'm heel hooking a guy at Walmart. You know what I mean? It's like the cool thing though is like watching how they all like really work if you put the time. Like, like even like people talk shit on karate, but I still use movements from when I was a kid and did karate. Like, I'm not saying like I use karate moves to like finish people in jiu-jitsu, but like I move with still like some of that stuff I learned, like the balance. A lot of that stuff happened early, and then
and the discipline, right? Like,
yeah.
I think I can't tell you how many people I've talked to where they started with like a karate or something, and the discipline transfers.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think if anything, there's more discipline in karate because it was more discipline based. Versus
more structured.
Jiu-jitsu is a little more organic. Like
it's pretty loose.
There's a lot of movement. Like, but the same with the guns. Like, the first class I did with Phil, I was like, wow, I probably shouldn't carry a gun. You know what I mean? That's the way like I viewed myself, like, oh, I'm a stupid white belt. And then I kept doing them. And then especially like you did some of the sim gun stuff, right?
Yeah.
That was like the biggest eye opener because you get to go see like, can I shoot this guy without getting shot? Can I like hold my ground while bullets are coming at me? Like, it's not the same, but like you have some of those same kind of fears.
Yeah.
And people act weird or whatever. And then doing the first one, you know, was like fairly even between me and these people. And then having the privilege to train with Phil, like more than most, and like just keep doing the classes and then like help with stuff and learn this, learn that, and do privates and whatever else. When I went back and did sim wars with other people after that, the amount of things you game, the amount of things like you're overconfident about, or like you just know to be true. You don't have to question the facts of these certain things. So then you just run the gun better. You deliver that appearance or presence, like I was talking about, better. So when I come and shoot you, I look the part. The guy's like, oh fuck, like, and they start panicking because you have the confidence and you start shooting them. Like, and it's almost like you could stand still and let them miss you and then shoot them, which he does on that first one.
Yeah, dude. I know from experience. Like,
and then like doing it over and over again to the point where like now when I do jiu-jitsu, like if I roll with a new person or like somebody who's just training, like you can literally toy with them like a cat. Yeah. And then
I did that with one of your guys today.
It was the same John Wick kind of thing. Like you walk in and then like these people are moving in like odd movement patterns, and then all of a sudden they're pulling their guns out improperly, and you're just like, oh wow, I'm a blue belt now, or I'm a purple belt at this. So then you're just taking white belts out, and it's really cool to see like how all the stuff works.
That's definitely a true thing that translates. Like you can see the progression, and to your point, you can see when they're making mistakes. Yep. And it's really cool to see them make mistakes and go, oh, like you realize that's why this is working for me, because and I see that. And then you add
all that subconsciously, just like when we roll, you're like, oh, he put his hand on the mat.
Yeah, no wonder. Like, no wonder that sweep worked this time and it didn't last. Yeah.
Same with like boxing, you start knowing like, oh, if I just move my head and I do this, I can slip a punch. I don't have to jump out of the way of it like it's a car coming at me. And then you start doing, you minimize all the stuff and you maximize like the techniques, and the shit works. Like it's cool to see the science of like all that stuff like actually work if you try.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to, let's clear the table and kind of like, I just want to show the webcam, your rifle, just because like the trigger and the paint job, I think they can see it better if we have it on the table. Yeah, that thing's pretty, man. So what's the significance of this guy here? I'm curious.
That's actually a thing that those guys, Lunar Concepts and the Wiseman Company have. I'm pretty sure it's the Bubba tab. Don't quote me or don't hate me, guys, if it's wrong.
I need that. I've been using a rubber band forever.
It's basically like the cool version of the rubber band, so I'm doing it poorly here. But so then essentially you're here, and you just, and then it comes out.
That's sweet.
So you can obviously put it nice, do all of this. And then I always like having these QD locks, because you can
that's
take
sweet.
Stuff on and off.
If anyone wants to give me a Christmas present, I'm sure that thing's only like $5 or something. That thing's pretty sweet, man. And you have the pop-up sights and everything. This was an interesting thing. I had military experience with rifles, so I didn't know about these things, like the way that the screw in. I don't even know what these are called when
the pingati rail.
Yeah, but the way that you screw this one into the holes, like my.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, they have the M lock, and they have the one straight, and one has like a little hole, like it's
Yeah, like mine, it's the same exact thing. Yeah.
I forget. There's 2 different styles or whatever, maybe more now, but
yeah. Yeah, that's pretty interesting stuff, man. I'm just thinking.
I just put that on for a flashlight.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's one thing. Like, I just have the optic on this right now. I've been thinking about getting a flashlight for it, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. And then I run a 3-point sling. Have you ever messed with a 3-point sling?
A little bit.
Yeah, I think they're pretty neat, especially for like run and gun kind of situations. And then you got the quick release thing here. Like,
I usually do single or 2. The idea, like the best one, I should put the thing on. Phil has one on his, so you can turn this into
like a single point sling. Yeah, that's really cool. Like right on your molly of your.
These end up being pretty good because you can. So you do this, so you're tight here. If you want to run single point, you literally just do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you can do all that because single point's always going to hit you in the dick.
For real. This is pretty cool though because I need to I'll say in the mic afterwards, but like you can pretty much like run and gun like this, and then it's pretty tight when you like.
Problem with running with it on your side like that, that's the kind of stuff like when you do the tactical games, you would notice maybe 1%, if that, of the people running a 3-point anymore just because of how much slopping around that is. Yeah. Whereas like this, especially this was set up to have all my gear, so it's a little tighter. So when you go here, that cinch it.
Man, yeah.
This would be tight. And then when I go to run, we just go.
Yeah, when you go to run, you sling it on your back.
And then we climb.
Yeah, that makes sense. I dig that, man. This is something I did when I was in the military. Like I got the 3-point sling, and I just really enjoyed it, especially with having your kit and leaving it here. Yeah.
Plus, it's like in my workspace space is here.
It makes sense.
Plus,
yeah.
If you have a pistol now too. So if this is here.
Yeah.
And then I just like this for coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, man. You're not the only guy that has a sling like that, and I'm gonna have to run one of those, and I'm probably gonna be converted. Like you're saying, like most guys, I usually go
like this. Like
I change things
in general. It's
yeah,
just a really comfy sling. Let's try and get you by some of my friends.
For real.
But they just have really nice stuff. I have one on that the AK as well. Shout out to Mark for building this beautiful gun. And yes, we cleared and saved all these guns prior.
Yeah, we did. I don't think there's some ammo on the pistol mags, but we don't even have any here. All right. I dig it. I'm a fan. All right. I might have to pick one up. Yeah, it's crazy how efficient that little lever that's on there is.
You almost need that when you're really like if I wouldn't have had that for the tactical games or whatever we had to run through a train and then like take yourself and then shoot and shoot out of like smaller areas or big areas. So like if you were really like I don't work with my gun, I play with it. So but if I had to work with it for real or that was my job, I would want to know. I would want all that stuff for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Do you want to pull out any of your other toys back there?
What do you want?
Oh, I mean, you have one right here. Yeah. See, this is one of your AKs.
Yeah.
Or maybe your only AK. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the story on this is I had an AK I bought from a friend years ago. And then my buddy Mark Eastman wanted to build AKs and started just obsessing over that, and we were trying to figure out how to get him there. So I basically at some point I was like, here's X amount of money, like $1,000 in my gun, or I forget what it was, and I was like, build me like a better one.
Yeah, pimp it out. Yeah,
it took a couple years. Like he ended up moving to Vegas, doing all that stuff, and the gun I originally had was like a piece of shit. So luckily for me, he was friends with Rifle Dynamics, and I got a receiver, just a gun from scratch of it's amazing as far as an AK. It shoots so nice and so flat.
Yeah,
shoots a fireball the size of a state. But
I noticed this is definitely not a stock AK suppressor.
So he cut the barrel down. This is actually a pistol.
Yeah. Okay. I was kind of curious on the length. I'm gonna actually.
but feel like the safety and stuff, how it moves. Like you've moved like AKs in there.
Yeah.
They're tanks, but like feel how smooth, like to me it moves like an AR, like everything on it's like dialed in.
The
trigger's nice.
Something my one buddy has, he has like this slot that's cut away on this so that he can have something retain the bolt. Like he slides it up to catch the bolt. Yeah, it's nice, man. Oh, I'm so bad at. You're probably supposed to go that way. That's why. Jesus. Yeah, it was funny. We were messing around the other day. Like the Russians, the way they do it is like they like bang the mag out. Yeah. It feels comfortable. I like the AK platform, but like in the Army, I was trained with an AR, and I was just like, I have so many habits on it, and I look for those things on this.
This for sure.
Yeah, it's like a more ergonomic design, I think.
It's lighter too, which is nice. I mean, the worst thing about that gun is how physically hot the barrel gets.
Oh, dude,
like
I burnt myself recently on my buddies.
Like if you shoot 2 clips, you can't.
You can't hold by the plastic.
You have to run these like this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy stuff, man.
I prefer to be like out here.
Yeah. Yeah, they get right crazy. I burnt myself on my buddies the other day because he just got a new hand grip, and like I guess the retaining pin on it got damaged. So if you held it wrong, it would like slip off. So it slipped off, and then I burnt myself with it.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, for real. But yeah, that's dope, man. So you have paint on your mags. That's cool. So you don't lose them at the ranges and stuff.
I never shot with people like you know what I mean, like so I would shoot with friends before, but like say you and me go shoot.
Yeah.
So I need to like organize your stuff. But when you actually go places and do different things, like, or especially doing like Phil's courses, you got a couple people, everybody's throwing their mags on the ground because you got to move and just dump them. Yeah. So I just copied off everybody else, and I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever. Yeah. The other thing I stole this from Phil is if a mag fucks up. Or if you have a malfunction, now you go, number 2
is
double
giving
check
me
that.
issues.
That shouldn't be in my real. That could be a training mag now, but it's no longer can be in like
it malfunctions commonly. Yeah, interesting. I like that. I'm gonna keep that in mind. Let's bring the pistols back because I just wanted to talk about something I've been using lately. So I have these Recover tactical mags, and I'll just like demonstrate quick. They basically have this clip on the back. I'm going to show the camera. And the way I've been using them, I actually used it for Phil's course this way. You grab like your belt loop. And it comes in pretty ergonomically and everything. And I really wanted to know, like, man, like this seems like too good to be true kind of thing. I want to make I wanted to make sure it like because I wanted to like run. I thought it was when I got it, I'm like, man, this thing's gonna break. I'm gonna bust that damn plastic piece off. But it stayed on. Like, yeah, go ahead, mess with it a little bit. Yeah. What'd you say? Yeah, I have another one. You can leave it up. Same. Yeah. Don't chamber one, but it's cool to just like practice pulling it in. It was. I started to like it, and I noticed another thing about yours. I thought you were going to be one of the flared magwell guys, but you actually don't. You have this empty here.
Well, I actually cut because that comes with a lanyard. I cut the bottom of my 19 off, the 19X.
Interesting.
If you look.
Oh, I see. Like maybe that thing was
this right here. This had a lanyard. So what would happen was I'd put this in, and this would hit here. So these mag extensions wouldn't work. So I took a Dremel and just
cut it
made
off.
that flat. Because if you look at, actually yours is different. So I just made it more.
Yeah, mine's like I think a Gen 3.
The Gen 5s have an extended magwell.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I ran those pretty good, and they worked pretty reliably for me. I have like a war belt that like I have like Kevlar thread, so I really pimped it out. Like this one little spot, I made it a little thicker, so those really had good bite. I was running in and out of the car. I never had it fall off of me, so I really wanted to know.
These kind of things.
Yeah, is that concealed on you?
Yeah, so it would be like if you would have. Actually, I have a belt on, so it's cool.
Yeah, those freaking Origin pants, man. Those are sweet. They come with a belt.
So then like it would essentially be like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't actually have my holster for my pistol. Otherwise, I would have showed. But yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't work too good without real pants.
Yeah, like you need some actual jeans. Dang, that freaking ball keeps running away. That's the other thing that was a big is a real belt. Yeah,
like
we mentioned that. You mentioned that to me last time I was here. Actually, you were saying how important it is to have a sturdy belt with having one that has rigidity will make any holster better. Yeah, like even a good holster. Yeah, like even a good holster will be shitty in a bad pants situation.
I wear my it's over there, like my competition insert. So it's like a Velcro belt that has Velcro on the outside and the inside. Over there, yeah. This particular belt.
Oh, nice.
So then Lunar Concepts made this as well. And then, so this is my inner belt.
Yeah.
Like so. And then my battle belt goes around.
Yeah, just Velcro's right on, yeah.
Pins, so that with all this tight, when you run, like, you go to grab your gun, it's there. It's not like, where's my pistol? It's always right.
Yeah, it's consistent. Yeah, that's cool, man. There's certain things like you can take a cheap thing and make it good. Like not, I guess. But yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I did. I was actually messing with it over there a minute ago. That thing's super. Like it's got like plastic on the inside and everything.
And then the other belt on the outer belt's even thicker. So then it's those two together.
Yeah, that thing's not moving at all. Mine it's Velcro, but it's a little different. It's one of those things where because I'm like a tinkerer and I'm good at modifying things, I was able to make it really work for my thing. I was actually having this conversation with my buddy. Like he bought like premium stuff and he was saying to me like, I'm mad that your kit like costs like $20 or whatever, like all my shit was like versus his $100 or whatever it was. And he was like, but you were running it fine. Like it was just so funny, man.
You just need it to work. You don't need
necessarily.
And then it depends how much you're going to use. I think a lot of the better stuff with anything is more like durable, like it's made for the work environment. It's made to be used daily versus if you have like a decent setup and you go play guns a couple times a year, like it's not like your shit's going to wear out.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You don't need a $4,500 pistol to shoot twice a year.
Yeah, 100%, man.
You're better off getting $4,500 in training.
Yeah, and ammo, right? Especially right now. Shit. Yeah. So ammo is super scarce right now. What's your take on that? A lot of dry firing. Like, how's your training been affected by that?
Between being injured at jiu-jitsu and bullets being too much, I'm playing chess.
Yeah? Like actual chess? Yeah. You watched that Queen's Gambit on Netflix? Yeah. It's so good, dude. I loved that. That show was so good. I've been
now, like,
that.
Me and, like, a lot of the guys from here, like, we literally just play chess on chess.com.
Oh, nice.
All day long. So I'll have, like, 3 games going all day.
That's funny.
Just keep, like, moving back and forth.
Yeah, man. Like people have been inviting me to play it on the apps. I will tell you right now. I was the captain of my chess team in Reading High. Right?
Oh, nice.
It was the gaming club, but it was the chess club before it was the gaming club. It was the
strategic gaming club. Me.
Dude, yeah. Like, so I was a president, and people keep inviting me to these apps. I only play in person.
Yeah.
Because on the app, you can spend all day waiting. I'm like, no, dude, this has to be an intimate.
What makes a difference? Well, you can set on the app. We can play blitz games.
I did not.
We can play
a
whole game that's 30 seconds long.
I did not know that. I did not.
I've watched Magnus Carlsen and those guys play like minute games, and they're like, if you're watching it online, like you can't even watch it; it's too fast.
Yeah,
they're just like, and then they draw, or like, and then they see 75 moves ahead, so they're like, "Oh, I resign." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Oh, I got made it in 12." You're like, "Fuck me."
For real. I don't know if I'm 75 moves ahead, but I'm usually one ahead of my opponent. Yeah. I've definitely been beat. Like there's guys who are really good at chess that I've played, and it makes me feel like I shouldn't touch a chessboard.
We had a guy don't know if you know color wheel tattoo.
What's that?
A friend of mine has
color wheel tattoo.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I didn't realize.
3 shops ago, it was at a different location. They've all been in the same little triangle, but it was across the street years ago. And this random long-haired like hippie dude would stop in with a chessboard, and we'd like play chess there.
That's awesome, man.
And he'd come in and just smoke everybody. He was just one of those guys that like would set up and play anybody all the time. That's like what he did.
Yeah.
And he like showed me how to like mate in 3 and all those like where you just open up and like started teaching me like
there's some cool openings. Yeah.
But this is the first time I really took like an educated approach. Like now after jiu-jitsu, being a black belt, I'm like, I know what it takes to be good at anything. You have to put this much work in. So there's no way to skip it. You can keep trying to go around it, but
well, we definitely got to have a beer and play a game of chess, dude.
Yeah.
I'm actually
so now
really
now I started playing like with a motive, like I'm like, I gotta control the center, and I gotta keep certain pieces away from these pieces because they control this. And now like the next step is using my pawns not as just pawns, like they hold the board down, like, and so I was just kind of attacking, and not really like playing the game,
not lining up the layers of the complexities of the actual game.
So now I watch these guys on YouTube and stuff, and like,
damn, dude, you might be better than me right now. I haven't played in a while. I hosted open mic. You know where the Speckled Hen is in Reading? Yep. I hosted the open mic there every 4th Thursday, and there's a chessboard at the Hen.
Oh, nice.
So we would play sometimes. Whenever anyone would want to play, I would be like, all right, like a beer's on this game, and then I would get a lot of free beers. Yeah. I don't know if I'm undefeated, but I know I won most of my games.
I mean, I hope you're way better than me, because it's always better to have some, like, learning anything is just so much easier when you have somebody who's just better than you.
Yeah, definitely. I had an ex-girlfriend, actually. Her dad gave me a lot of advice in chess. Small world kind of stuff. Like,
after being a coach, I know the value of having a coach. Like, you can just save yourself so much
time.
Like,
get
right to the part you need to learn.
Like, be humble now. Like, get that fucking cocky tough guy shit out. Like, oh, I'm so intelligent, I must be good at chess. Fuck off, dude. Yeah. It's way more to it than that. Let's get back to the guns a little bit, and then we can like kind of move around on some other topics. So, what made you decide on Glock? Like, that is a controversial thing. That's as controversial as Android versus
I started
iPhone.
1911 guy. So I was a Colt 1911. Like, that's the best gun still, I feel like. I just don't feel like it is my best gun day to day. Like this is the one I just want to have in my pocket. Like, I'd rather drop that gun and pick it back up and use it than like my Gold Cup National Match 1911 and like the safeties and everything. Just, it's an easier gun to run in a modern sense, I think, and not have like worries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you use a 1911, that's fine, but you have to train with a safety. You have to train bringing that gun out, putting that gun in a position to use it. If I would carry a 1911 right now, I would think under stress I'd come out and go click because I didn't turn the safety off because I've been running this style of gun. So, I feel like this is just the gun that works for me. Like, when I pick them up and I like hold them, like a Glock feels like it's supposed to be in my hand versus a lot of other guns don't necessarily feel that way.
Yeah.
And I think I don't want to like mix it up. Like, when I was younger, I would buy guns because I liked guns, and I still do, but like, I'd be like, oh, I want to carry this one with these shoes, and I would use this one.
Yeah, dude, I'm totally, 100%.
But then
I was talking about like 1911. The only way I would own one is if it was my
shoot
shoot gun. Yeah, you gotta have the. It's gotta be from
my
here.
Desert Eagle had a leather like holster, so I could carry a 50 cal for no reason. So like stuff like that, I started
for sure.
Especially with shooting with Phil and all the other guys. Like, I met with him, like the guys who were good, like. They had simple guns that worked. They had simple stuff that worked.
Yeah, and 1911 is jam a lot.
And they were like, hey.
At his courses, I noticed that too.
They're like,
the
hey,
guys
train. And the other thing is mad capacity. Like, you didn't realize until you do a course that having 8 rounds is a disadvantage.
Yeah, for real, dude. Oh, man.
You have to carry more. You got to change more.
Yeah. Speaking of that, that's actually an interesting thing. So let me tell you a story from Phil's, right? I just bought this barrel. Mm-hmm. It's a Lone Wolf 9mm conversion barrel for the Glock 23. Yep. So I just bought this, and I was like, oh, this is so neat. Like, I didn't know that this would work. Basically, I'll explain what this does briefly to anyone that doesn't know. I can take this barrel, drop it in my 40 caliber Glock, and now it shoots 9mm, same parts and everything, just change the barrel. In fact, we could do the swap ski and everything. Jeez. That's another thing about Glocks. You can drop them all day. They're fucking safe. But yeah, I ran out of ammo at his course because I forgot day 2 to have
so you
like
could swap it out.
Yeah. So that's what I ended up doing. My buddy was running 9, and I'm like, oh shit, I can just use not your ammo. Like, let me give you like $50. Let me get some rounds. Like back when it was cheap, $50. $50 will get you about 50 rounds right now.
That's why like now I have a red dot with
yeah, that's fucking sweet, man. Break mine down. I'll we can show the camera. But yeah, essentially, I actually have like. That's one of the reasons I left these mags loaded so I could show. That versus a 9mm. This is a 9. So. 40, obviously the fatter guy. 9mm is the smaller one. And this is just like a P mag. I have. Is that my slide? Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me get that. So the 40 obviously goes. Flush in there. And the 9mm.
He's a lap dog.
It's flush in that barrel. Let me make sure. But as you can see, it's like 2 different calibers. And I didn't have that mag at the time. So I had to go, like I had Googled this and I hadn't tested it yet. Apparently you can run 9mm in the 40 mags. And I was like, dude, there's no fucking way. So I ended up trying it and it worked out. I'll just like do a little demo to show. Like I can, I figured out that 10 rounds is where it gets a little wonky. They stack a little weird after that, and that's where I started running into issues. But
that's the thing, like
yeah. So I just had more mags on me, like you were saying.
It's one of those things where you can use it for range days, but if you were gonna carry it, you should probably get the right mag. And
yeah, 100%. But at the same time, like I was telling my same buddy, like this is a really good zombie apocalypse gun for this reason. It's like I can run 2 calibers out of the same gun.
That's what was cool about the 27 I had. So you could just make a smaller 9 out of that too. Yeah. I used to be a 45 guy. And
same. I started out that way.
And I carried 45 and I had a backup 40. And I was like, 9s aren't tough enough. You know what I mean? What if the guy's on crack?
Yeah.
And then I started shooting with like real shooters, and they're all like, "Oh, we shoot 9s." And then I started shooting 9s, and if you look at the ballistics on 45, 9, and 40, like you don't get any benefit out of the other ones other than you lose capacity, and it's a harder gun to shoot. Like you can just put more rounds on target with 9, carry more, and used to be cheaper to shoot. Now nothing's cheaper to shoot.
Yeah. Well, this is one advantage I'll say about the 40. 40 is cheaper than 9 right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I'm
pretty exactly. Like, not that many people
never
have 40.
Was before.
Yeah. For real.
But there's so much snap. Like a 40 is it's a hard gun to follow up on. Like it's.
I feel like it's comfortable. This is what's different. I can hardly tell the difference actually with the Glocks because if you have good purchase, like this is what makes a huge difference. Yeah. You know, the way that you designed your weapon to fit your hand is night and day going to change that. But as you can see, like that's all 9mm in like that 40 mag, and that cycles. Like you can go ahead and like just cycle them through. You won't get a jam. The one thing about that barrel that's weird though is it's the barrel. They eject up. So that's not really a problem for me, but I know some people like wrote like reviews about like not liking that about it. And then I run Crimson Trace optics. That's something that was interesting too in Phil's course, right? I was running my Crimson Trace, which is a laser. I will you guys can see the laser over here. He uses TA targets. And if you know anything about TA targets, they kind of hang at an angle. My laser is shining like it was night out. I was able to see on every single one of them. I was like, no way, I don't need to use my irons. It's daylight, sweet. So that was an interesting revelation. Another thing where if I didn't run my shit in an actual like scenario, I never would have known that. Yeah. So if you're like a human-sized target, maybe depending on the angle of how you're standing, I'm not going to be able to see that, reticle for lack of a better term.
The only thing I haven't, I feel like with the Crimson Trace versus something like this, is you're like looking for a dot on that versus looking through your gun and there just happens to be a dot there. I don't search for a dot, I just put the gun on the target. And the dot helps me do it faster.
So that's another thing.
There
I was
you're
doing
shining where's the
for sure. And it's one of those things where that could be a bad habit to develop for sure. And I noticed myself doing it, so I was turning it off in between scenarios or whatever you want to call stages of his events.
There's a lot of guys who do the red dots, they get rid of their irons because a lot of times if I try to shoot my irons, it throws you off. You have to just look through the red dot. Do you shoot 2 eyes or 1?
So for my rifle, I use, if I'm doing close combat, it's both. But if I'm doing a long shot, I like 1. Yeah. For sure. And then with the pistol, I usually do 1 through irons. But yeah, man, Phil's another one. I really like the CCO on the pistol versus the laser. I like the laser though. I need to shoot more, and it's an expensive time to figure out which one I really want to stick with.
The red dot for me was one of the best dry fire add-ons. Now I'll explain why. So say you have this. So now you go and you press that and you're like, so now I can be like, all right, I was on.
Yeah.
But was I? So now, especially when you're doing it quick and you're trying to come out here and you're using your time, you're like beep, and you're trying to really rock and roll. You don't really know if you were lined up necessarily. I feel like it's hard to gauge.
Yeah.
But this, just like a red dot on the wall, bouncing, I come out and say I pull the trigger and I look at the red dots in the top of the corner or something, I know I wasn't on. So if the red dot's where I was pointing when I hit the trigger, then I feel like it's
before and
it
after.
kind of helps you identify if
That's
you're dry
interesting.
firing correctly.
That's interesting. Nice. I definitely I do this. I do a similar thing. I'll aim at something in my apartment or whatever, and I'll make sure that I don't get a bounce out after my squeeze. So that's interesting. So now, I didn't realize you could do that with that.
I didn't realize that it was happening until I got the red dot. So say if we can do it then even after we're done with this, but say you dry fire and you come out really fast, you go boom, and now I check to really see where I was pointing, and you'll notice you were not on your target. And then you would have assumed you were before because there was no red dot telling you weren't. So it started showing me that I was dry firing, kind of reckless a little bit.
Yeah,
or something.
That's interesting. I'm glad you shared that because that's something I would not have intuitively thought that it would that it gives you that benefit, doing the dry firing training with that on.
Just gives really you cool, something man. You can see. You're like, oh shit, it was to the right. I was clearly to the right. Just a right-handed shooter typically shoots low left because you keep pushing that. So if you keep coming down, you see your red dot over here or not in your thing, and you move it a little bit, and you're like, I'll put my gun low or whatever.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, man. That's cool stuff, man. So are there any guns that you want to get? Do you have anything in the cut here that you're interested in?
I checked out of the whole thing a little bit just because everything that's going on. I was like, this isn't my market.
It's too expensive right now too. Yeah.
I'm waiting for everybody, especially all the non-gun people, the far left people who bought guns just because it's scary this last year.
Yeah.
So then all the people who bought guns, ammo, and toys that they don't actually use are going to sell them on Facebook Marketplace for cheap next year.
Well, I've done this
and everybody's going to go broke
because
the way the shit's going. So all the I didn't really need this in the first place thing.
I'll say this. It's difficult to find guns for sale on Craigslist and Facebook. I've tried.
I don't mean that for them.
I'm just saying, like, they'll go up for sale. Like, I definitely agree with that sentiment. But I tried to even sell paintball stuff before. Like, I tried to sell a paintball gun on Facebook, got flagged. I'm like, come on, dude.
It's hard to even find like holsters and stuff.
Yeah, it really is. That's why, like, sometimes, like, recently I actually did this for one of my new cameras. I was like, hey, like, are you willing to, like, consider, like, some trades to lower your price? So I mentioned, like, I have some, like, video game stuff. I have some 45 ammo because I sold the Smith. Like, and you know, if they want the ammo, like, sometimes they'll say yes or no to that. But that's the only way you're gonna get it popping on Facebook Marketplaces with some trades and stuff. Do you want to pull out the Scar, the last little toy we got here? Well, and then you got your knife. We can talk knives after that a little bit. It's interesting stuff, man. I think it's crazy too how Glock is just so wildly customizable. Yeah.
This is one of those other ones I just...
Yeah, that's a big boy right there. So let me ask you this. Right now, I know the answer already. The cheapest ammo is the 7.62x39 for the AK. But how much has the ammo prices increased for this versus the AR? Like, this is 308.
Yeah, I honestly don't have that information. I literally...
You haven't bought, recently?
I just figured I'm not playing that game other than, like, through friends who can get me, like, deals.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't
introduce me to these friends.
I wasn't, like, shooting this on...
on, like, a regular basis.
Yeah, I mainly have 308, like, nicer stuff. I have a Remington 700, like a sniper rifle setup.
Yeah.
This, like, I end up using those two more than this. This I kind of got for because this only rifle have full length.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pistols, right?
So I kind of wanted this to put, I had a red dot on it, but I want to put like a Vortex, like 1x6, 1x8, something like that. Something that I can drop it down to a 1 quick and kind of run and gun with it, because it's still small enough, but it's also a big enough rifle to reach out and get somebody at some distance, plus a 308.
What's the furthest you've accurately reached this guy out to?
4-ish. So
400 yards,
small
400 meters.
That, you know what I mean?
That's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, I would think cool. Like somebody better than me with the right scope would easily do an 800 or something. One of these, I would think.
Yeah. I've fired these before, just like short range
stuff. It feels
like
an AR. It's light. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't shoot
I
heavy.
think they're pretty, like, they feel clunkier than they are. Like, just like the operate, like we were just saying
I
before.
think
like,
it made
it
such
feels
a
hollow,
light, heavy, like it's a big bullet and a light gun. So
yeah.
Like
they're interesting weapons for sure. If you could fire any gun that you haven't yet, what would it be?
I want to shoot a Glock 18 because I just think they're pimp.
That's cool.
But
I was expecting like rocket launcher.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, give me a tank or something. But depends what level. If you want to go that way, it's like an endless topic of just.
Yeah, I mean, all right. Let's say like a wild thing that's completely unlikely for you to shoot, and then something that you could totally.
I don't like
if
long
you had
to
like
shoot anything. Like
yeah.
What I would like to do is go out to. I need to go out to Florida to where like my buddy Ben moved to, and they have like long distance stuff. I've never shot. Like I'd like to be able to shoot 1,000 yards. You know what I mean? Even if I have somebody help me, like just to be able to like go see what it takes. Just the science behind that, all the like figuring out the wind and like it's a.
Ooh yeah,
it's a whole nother
definitely
game.
Yeah.
Not like to me, it's like we're the big boys. Like you have to know what you're doing to shoot that much farther. Like.
For
like
sure.
You and me could go out and hit 500 yards tomorrow. You know, it's not a big deal, but I feel like
even on my CC, I wouldn't even need magnification.
You double that, and all of a sudden, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then there's so many variables, like to like the drop and this.
Yeah,
and all
it's
things.
crazy.
Like, things I don't even understand.
One of the things that blew me away when they told me it is the gravity affects a bullet. After I fire the round, it's still falling at that speed. That blew me away when someone told me.
The other thing is when you zero your gun in and you do like what's mine zeroed at 50 and 200. I think that's what I have it at. Probably sounds stupid. I don't remember, but whatever. So then like it rises, and then you have like the bullet drops. So then like you have like your sights are set on different things. Like they won't just work across the board. So it's cool. Like you can set it up at different things. So then when like you're rising at 50 yards, and then you're falling at 200, and then but 100 yards, you have to aim above the target a little bit or below or what just like your red dot, you go in and you shoot too close. Now you have to account for
100%. It's funny in the Army when we would qualify, like you never at that 50-yard target, because we're zeroed at 300 meters. You aim at the berm in front, like as well as anybody else. Like you're shooting the berm in front of the guy.
It doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it's like no, that's so weird.
So
it's
then
so
make it like those guys that shoot like 2,000 yards or whatever. Like the crazy shots, the amount of like earth and like. That's why I think flat Earth's bullshit, because snipers wouldn't have to account for the curvature of the Earth if it was fucking flat.
For real. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
Nobody ever brings that one up. It's like, oh, well, look, you look at a sea, and the sea doesn't bend. I'm like, well, how fucking far can you see, man?
Yeah, seriously, dude. Fucking A, dude. It's so funny. I remember I saw one where it was a dude, like, he was on Everest or some fucking mountain like this, and he could see the curve of the Earth from the mountain, and he's like, take that, flat Earth. It's just like, there's so many, that's such a crazy thing, man.
I feel like that's just a thing, like, people are like, oh, man, we're going to take this crazy idea and just don't back down.
Never, yeah. Shit is too wild, man. But yeah, man, that's pretty sweet. What's your favorite gun that you've shot?
Favorite. That's like different things. Like there was like fun guns that are like oh, that was like interesting. But like the guns I have here, like my favorite guns are like my Glock 19.
Yeah.
Probably the AR, just because I
made them your favorite.
I perform better with them. Like I love the AK and like the SCAR is awesome and stuff, but it doesn't. I don't know. I feel like one with those other ones, maybe because I spent more time.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's an extension of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I had an AR since I was a kid. It was my dad's, but like we always played with that or shot it, and then never had Glocks, but I've been carrying a Glock I carried a Glock 30 since like early 2000s. So it's like it's just. When I pick up a gun, that's what
you. Yeah, it's like picking up a Smith & Wesson. Like, there's something wrong with this.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then visually, I really like square stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it shouldn't matter, but there's certain guns I just find to be ugly, and I can't carry an ugly gun.
Yeah.
I'm aesthetically annoyed by certain shapes. Certainly cars, like it could be the fastest car in the world, but you're just like, oh, it looks like shit.
The edges need to be tight. Yeah, I feel you. The aesthetics thing is definitely a thing.
That's personal preference. I mean,
of course.
People think Glocks are square.
Oh yeah, people hate them. Yeah. I think everyone can agree high points are pretty ugly.
Yeah. But for the money, you can't buy a better cheap gun.
Yeah.
That's a $150 gun that'll save your life.
Yeah.
Like they're not awful, other than they're 40 pounds.
It's like shooting a cinder block. I think they're probably the worst thing you could get pistol whipped with.
And your ego, because you're like, it's like getting tapped out by like a 8-year-old girl or something. Like
yeah, for real.
I didn't want that to happen.
For real.
Like, that's not a cool enough gun to kill me.
Yeah, for real. It's not cool enough. It's like, damn,
I'm got shot with like a Barrett 50 cal. You'd be like, all right.
Oh yeah, appropriately so. They needed to whip out the big guns. Let me give you a scenario, right? We're going to do like a zombie apocalypse thing. All right, so you walk up to the trunk of your car, and you open it, and you get 3 things. What are those things? And there's zombies everywhere.
And we have like a deep trunk with anything we want.
It's a loot crate, right? You open it, it's got a question mark above it. Well, 3 things, whatever you want.
It's tough because ammo doesn't last. You know what I mean? They're like, you need things that just keep doing the job.
Yeah.
And then bullets rip through, especially rotted flesh, I would think like nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, and what does that do to a zombie? I mean, in the movies it kind of kills them, but we don't really know.
Yeah.
Other than for sure chopping their heads off. So thinking that samurai sword right there is coming with me for sure.
Hell yeah, brother.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll do like a melee, a pistol, and like a long gun. And you know what? Let's do 5 things. You get 3 firearms and 2 bonus things. So we got that, right?
So we got a samurai sword, firearms, assuming like ammo's endless or whatever.
Well, like you have whatever you can carry, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference too, because that's another thing with 223 and 9 versus being the 308 45 guy. Because now your backpack's fucking a lot heavier.
Yeah, fucking right it is with less capacity. Yeah.
So well-placed headshots with this gun. So I guess I'll take my.
See,
AR.
your own AR.
Well, I know it works too.
Yeah, it's a quality
so it's
product.
reliable.
Yeah.
There's probably other, like if I could just, I'd have to go online and be like, I want this one, but I'd probably take some sort of platform like that. 223 is lighter, so that sounds like probably the way to go. I would probably stick with my block pistol just because.
It's an extension of
maybe
you.
get like a Smith 500 or something, like 8-inch barrel, just for like
when the big zombie shows up.
Something down. Stop cars or something. I don't know.
Yeah. For real.
And then definitely some sort of, the sword, because you need distance and like cutting ability.
Yeah, for the head.
Maybe one of those like what's it called? I forget the Japanese, but we used to use them in Taikar and Okinawan Kempo. They're like it's like a long staff with like the big blade on the end.
Oh, a naginata.
Yeah.
I only know that because my main character in Soul Calibur uses it.
Yeah, so you could get some speed going that and just as long as it's like, a Tori Hanzo sharp.
Yeah.
Gold in there.
Yeah, no doubt.
But it'd be kind of fun to just like get all like badass samurai'd up.
Oh hell yeah,
but
dude!
Just go out and shred.
Yeah, man. So like I think one thing that I would definitely bring is my bow.
Oh yeah,
you can make arrows.
Yeah, I did forget about a bow. My arms, like with my no pec, no rotator cuff, no labrum. Now I tore my bicep like a couple weeks ago.
Jeez, bro.
The whole bow and arrow thing, like I'd be using like a kid's compound bow anyway, so I wouldn't shoot the arrow very far.
I mean that's all you need for the rotting flesh, like to your point.
That's true. The cool thing about the bow is you can put like bombs or like fire,
same like a shotgun, make dragon's breath kind of situation.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sweet, man.
I'm not a big shotgun guy, but it'd probably be good for zombies.
Yeah, I think so, right? Like you could even like with the knowledge of like the rotting flesh is gonna be softer. You could probably make birdshot work, honestly.
Yeah.
Fucking really effective. The whole
Get a group of them.
Yeah. Fucking
C4
sawed
would
off.
probably be pretty cool.
Yeah. That's definitely like the mystery item that you can have on the side. Like, yeah. A whole bag of them. I want a whole like briefcase. The
problem is one zombie comes around the corner and you go, and run away, and you leave all your shit there.
Oh, I know. It's like, fuck.
And you're like, have a pocket.
For real. Do you want to pull out the knives and like mess around?
Sure.
That's like the last of our toys here.
I have to pull out the bathroom break.
For real. We could definitely bring it to a close here soon. We've how long we've been running it? Hour 42. That's pretty good. Let's see
what we got here.
Yeah. So this is my daily carry. I have a balisong. This is illegal in 3 states. I believe Hawaii, New Jersey, and New Hampshire.
Everything's illegal in New Jersey.
Yeah,
except for weed now.
Yeah. Fuck today, yeah. That's recent too, right? That just happened.
This is probably my daily favorite. It's that Emerson Karama bit. The main thing is this wave lock that opens the knife up. That's when I show you where you pull the pant.
Oh, yeah.
And then another friend has this company, Combative Edge. They make like badass knives. That's one of the fixed knives.
That's nice. Yeah, you can fucking baton with that shit.
Yeah. I've been messing around with this thing, which is another half-breed blades. This is also that Combative Edge. Dragon's tail.
Because of the shape of the blade, that's like...
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's faster than an automatic knife, and it's not illegal.
Yeah.
And then since it's a Karama bit, I run it on support side, and it just comes...
Wow. The way you did it, like you obviously know your shit. Like that was like I couldn't even see the action of the knife coming out. It just was.
That's so fast.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Right on.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking cool, man. So what made you decide on karambits, right? That's kind of a recent, like, these are the cool things.
This I had for probably close to a decade now.
Yeah?
So
damn, so you were early adopter on that, too. There's a whole martial art behind those.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not, like, super skilled on any of that stuff other than, like, I like the format of it with martial arts as a background, just, like, the movements of, like, you know, blocking and cutting, like it fits well. And I think with the karambit, it's very nice for like cutting on like this kind of angle or that kind of angle. Like if you being able to get it out fast and just like, you know, cut.
Yeah.
I feel like you could cut inside, outside, like.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like,
and you can have like a natural like fist grip, like it's a natural
really
engagement, like way to go. Yeah, man. Interesting. Yeah. And then you have you want to kind of talk, like, is that a karambit, that guy, technically?
Yeah, technically. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a really cool setup. They combative edge down in Westchester. So then like this goes like clips on your belt here. So then this guy could just come right out. So it's like super fast, almost like a concealed pistol, like the way it's on like this. And it's like the grip wise.
Do you need a permit for that?
No.
Like a concealed.
Because blade wise,
it's conceal it.
No, because I mean all knives are concealed, really.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
I
like,
guess that makes sense. I never like. Had
honestly, I've never really. I don't think it's something to look into. But I don't think there's a concealed knife law. I think it's just blade length and like
blade
specific
length
knives. I like automatic knives.
Didn't they just legalize?
Maybe ask the officer.
Yeah, for real.
If I got pulled over with any of these, would we be okay?
Which one's gonna get me the most shit? But they just legalized katanas and like you can open carry katanas in Texas? That's a thing.
I didn't know you couldn't though. To me, that's one of those laws that's like, who writes it anyway? Like do you have to write all right, guys, we got to put our swords away. It's just getting out of hand.
It's getting out of hand.
No more ninjas. Like,
yeah, for real. It's like, you guys are outlawed. And then that one I recognize because Phil, I believe, has that same one.
He has this one and this one, yeah.
Yeah. So that pointy guy, what's the...
This one?
Yeah.
So now this is half-breed blades.
Yes.
I was fortunate enough just to be in the circle I was in. So like all the gear I got on my guns, I got fortunate enough to be like in the circle with a lot of badass guys that make stuff. This is another guy who came to one of his Leo courses. I forget the guy's name off the top of my head. Who basically gave it to me, but he was partners with or part of the Half-Breed Blades company, and just gave me one of these to try it out. He gave like a bunch to Phil and like just try to get the word out. This was, I believe, supposed to be able to be like taken out so you could use it and then get rid of it and still get back on your gun. Like, so it's supposed to be designed to be able to not.
Yeah, I think you showed me
like
that
if you
too,
use it, you don't have to put it back and then get your tool. I believe that was the concept behind it. I like it just because it's bare bones, and in my impression, like the best way to like stab somebody is going to be like a sewing machine kind of thing. Like you're not going to do some elegant
sewing machine. Yeah, that makes sense. It's really like a thick boy too. Like this is the tang is like fully through the whole handle. It's like,
and stuff like that to
really
me, like
thick.
It's good survival. You could tape that to a fucking like go hunting with it if you were like if Giant closes on us.
So the last one, you carry that last one?
Which one? This one?
Yeah. Oh no, the
this one I carry.
The big guy.
This one?
Yeah.
No, this is more like a
backpacker guy.
Yeah, / like put it on my kit.
Yeah.
If I had like I don't work with my gear, but like if I had a scenario where I could
where you needed it,
do security that like justified that kind of stuff.
Outside
of putting stuff on like that to train and see where I like it.
Yeah. Is there a methodical way you go through acquiring gear? Do you kind of like say, that looks like shit, or like do you wait to hear a recommendation before you try
it's recommendations. Like I don't buy anything unless like the guys that have the Wiseman company, they're a podcast and like not a podcast, but I guess he has a podcast, but it's just like online reviews.
Yeah.
So they'll go out and shoot. So I can call them and be like, hey, like, I seen you put 10,000 rounds through this gun. Like, what, like, should I buy one? You know what I mean? Or like, like your mag or any of this stuff. Like, they'll go out and like use it. Like people like, here, try our thing, disprove it or do whatever. So I try to contact people who beat stuff up and then be like, hey, do I even need that level for what I do? You know what I mean? Like, like, is it worthwhile? Is it just a gimmick that sucks? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's so much now, like, you know, like with everything online, there's people getting paid to talk about whatever. So
I'm trying to be one of those guys.
And then like you never know if the guy is selling you something because they truly love it and that's why they back it. Yeah. Or they're like, I like the $1,000.
Yeah. For sure.
So like, at least with friends, you know, like, don't carry that gun. It's junk.
Yeah,
it's not worth it.
For sure. I definitely have grown to be more of a take recommendation kind of guy through my years of doing different things, especially like with music equipment. That's been the biggest. Oh my gosh, you're so cute. But that's been a place where I kind of started with that kind of thing. Like that's actually why I got the Kiesel guitar. My really good friend Ethan got a Kiesel, and I played it, and I'm like, this is kind of nice.
That's how, like, with music, I got fortunate with jiu-jitsu, so then through, like, everybody, I had a gun guy, and then I have, like, a musician, and then all these people, I'm like, hey, teach me how to play guitar, teach me how to shoot guns, like, I'll teach you how to do this, you do that, so it's just, you know, crazy community, and the overlapping thing is crazy, like, the people who you're like, man, I didn't think you would do this.
Right? Yeah, it's like the jiu-jitsu guys that are, like, jacks of all trades kind of thing, like myself, like, I do so much stuff, but there's so many, like, I'll give you an example. There was a falconer guy I had on my podcast recently, purple belt through Hensei Gracie. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy. Oh, my God, you're so cute. But it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things where you have these people that seek discipline, and they have their own passions on the side, you know? And that's actually his full-time job, the falconry thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's so crazy to think about that stuff. Is there, like, what made you decide that doing the badass lifestyle, for lack of any, like, other term, like, it seems like you're really on top of, like, the situational awareness, just the way you live your life seems like you have an ethos of, you know, being prepared.
I think it was a product of environment.
Like I
said earlier with, like, my dad. So I think that was the catalyst. And then I started working in the tattoo shop. I was on the other side of the tracks, per se. So I seen bad things happen, or the possibility for them, or I really like psychology in general, and I see the manipulation of people in life, and just I don't want to be a victim. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, like, I want to be smart enough to not be, like, duped, and I want to know, like, I just want to have a fair chance, you know what I mean? And, like,
definitely
my insecurities, or, like, fear of all that stuff, because as you know, I'm sure, like, it's like open up Pandora's box, so you get more scared as you train, not less scared. So I see what I'm capable of doing to a human, and I know I'm not the best at doing that to humans. So then there's people who can steal my lunch money, and I don't like that. So then maybe the guy who's better at jiu-jitsu than me can't shoot like me. So now I have this. Or maybe the boxer can't go on the ground, so now I can sort of box with him, and then I can take him down.
Yeah.
And I just want to be able to. I don't like the thought of people who are like, I don't know how to drive stick. I don't know how to swim. Like, for me, I'm like, I want to learn how to ride a horse. What if we run out of cars? I need to be able, like, to do that. I don't know how to run a horse. You know what I mean? So, like, so it's just, I like just learning that stuff for one, and then
that's a good mentality, man. I really like that mentality. Like everything you touched on except the horses. I was like, yeah, I do all that. And then you said the horses one. It's interesting.
It's all that weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like, well,
I've been like, my buddy owns horses. Like the guy is a really good friend of mine, and he owns horses, and I'm like, dude, fuck horses. Like, they're scary to me. Yeah. But, like, in your situation, it's like, you know what? that's a thing. Like I need to like follow the fear because that's where I need to go.
What about like this stuff makes you think like COVID? So now
it
got that bad before. We know kind of what it is now, but the first time there was a chance where people were calling me up like, "Yo, do we have to like go all in kind of thing and like hide in the woods? Like, what are we doing?" Like, so then I can shoot, I can do jiu-jitsu, I can do these things, but I can't survive in the woods. You know what I mean? I'm not a survivalist. Like, I don't
that's
know
a whole
I
other
don't know
set
what
of
berries
skills.
to eat or not eat. I don't. Like, I'll just die out there. I'm gonna get cold. Like, I don't know how to do it. Like, I could survive better than the average guy for some time, but if you don't have water or something or electric for an exponential amount of time, you're fucked. Like, if you don't know how to like deal with it.
That's interesting. I was having this conversation with a friend, similar thing. He was like, man, he was actually Canadian. It's ironic because they're experiencing similar things, as you can imagine. And he was like, man, I need to figure out like what weapons to get. I got a camper van, like this, that, and the other thing. And he's like, you know, what do you do in this situation? I'm like, all right, this is the biggest thing. Before my gun, before my jiu-jitsu, before anything, I want to make sure I have healthy connections to reliable people in my life. And that's a huge thing for me. The fact that you have
tribes are how people survive.
Yes,
before, so
exactly.
there is no one.
There's no solo. You're not gonna survive in the woods alone.
No.
You know, you're gonna go mad alone.
Because we're part of a community, whether we're alone or not.
Yes.
You're like, oh, I can go to Wawa. There's a community that's just there for you that doesn't have a specific person that can do it. Like, if you go out there and say it's you, like just us in this room, and then some person comes and they're like, I'm hungry. We might kill them.
Yeah,
I mean, like, it's just a different time.
Yeah,
you know what
dude,
I mean? Like,
for sure.
Or you might be the fifth person. You're like the nicest guy in the world. And you're just like, I just want a sip of water, and they just kill you.
Yeah.
It's just like, my kids are here, and you're not taking anything from me. So like, you never know when shit gets like that. I think that's kind of how it is now. Like, people are scared. Like,
and you don't know. Like that's kind of the thing that. Like with police, right? Like that aren't confident in those situations. Like the beginner cop, he's the one that's shaky on the trigger that might pull it when he, otherwise
that's just like an analogy
to.
People don't understand, but it's the same.
It is
civilian mom, like how are you gonna be a good father if you're too insecure? How are you gonna be a good mother? Like there's so many things that like confidence just helps. Like that's why all these martial arts and different empowering things do what they do, because you can stand up and be like, you know what? No. I'm not doing that, like, or something.
Yeah. And it helps with diplomacy too, right? Like you're a jiu-jitsu guy, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. Like I don't want violence. I might be able to help you and your tribe, you know, and
Well, you can see it at bars. So like when you get emotions together and people fight, like there's like alpha people and then who are like able to handle themselves, and they typically don't pick on people and or fight other people in that situation. Like I said before, like I say excuse me to that guy and he's like, oh, after you. But then it's that jerk that runs through and shoulder bunks you and then all of a sudden says fuck you and keeps going, and then you're like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? Like,
for real. Oh man.
And then when you do fight him, he doesn't want to fight anyway, and he calls the cops or like gets scared.
Yeah,
like, well, I didn't want to fight
that
either.
fucking guy. You fucking douchebag. Oh, I've been Redding has some crazy clubs. Yeah, so I kind of want to talk about a little like your life, like the way you think with your lifestyle, right? Like the balls. Like I'm so glad like you suggested like sitting on the balls. It's better for the backs. Like it's more fun to sit on this. What are some knacks that you have where you kind of do something that's maybe not the status quo, and maybe you would recommend to the average dude because that's why you won't get carpal tunnel or something.
To my own disadvantage, but I mean the ball thing is just I started doing it like beginning of jiu-jitsu, and it was just a good solo partner. Plus pressuring a ball, or like if you look at when you pressure somebody in jiu-jitsu, if you go too far, you fall over them. Like you can't smash somebody in side control and like push across the center line, or else they can roll you over. So the ball is like a good way to like pressure, because you're pressuring a circle, a sphere. So if I put pressure on it the wrong way, I fall over that circle. So you have to learn how to flatten the circle, which is kind of what we do for
neon
jiu-jitsu.
belly or something like that. Yeah.
And then since it's an unstable platform, it gives you like a true not exact, but it gives you feedback, and you can't just set that there.
Yeah.
You can't set anything on the ball, falls off. So so you have to keep yourself on the ball. So then if you stand on your knees on the ball, that's similar to trying to hold somebody in mount. So now you can move. The ball's doing what it's going to do, and you have to just let that energy kind of go somewhere else. And then you move around it. And then if you can be the guy on the ball against a person, when they go to turtle or they move, you're just moving around them, and you're kind of like water. If I pour water on the hood of a car, it's going to find its way in.
Yes.
It doesn't have a predetermined plan to go in a specific hole.
Yeah.
So then if you're here and available and they move and you have the balance to float there or control that, you're going to fall into place once the place opens up.
Yeah.
So I use a lot of the ball for
How often do you sit on these? Like, you have these at your house? Like, you're on a computer, you be sitting on one of these?
Not typically there. All the time in here. I mean, if I have one, I sit on them a lot, but I definitely use chairs like normal people. Yeah. Especially if you have to sit back. But I feel like something like this, for us sitting here for this long, the chair, you'd be like, you'd just be like, I don't want to sit anymore.
Yeah.
Like here, we could just start rolling or something.
For real.
And then if you can, I used to tell people just to start watching TV and stuff like this.
That's awesome.
Just a less is more. If you do too much, the ball throws you off.
Yeah.
So you have to pick a spot on the wall or watch TV and then forget you're on the ball. And then you can sit on the ball without necessarily doing anything. And that's same as jiu-jitsu. If you have to think about side control, you're not going to hold somebody there. You have too much. If your subconscious handles all of that stuff and then you're consciously all right, crossface, arm bar, submission or whatever, then you can attack versus spending all your time being oh, I gotta control this hip. Oh,
the position's not tight. Yeah,
it's like if your shock absorbers on your car had to think about everything. They'd be oh, fucking oh, shit. Oh, we missed that one. You fucking fall out of your seat and shit.
For real. It's funny as hell. Shock absorber analogy. Are there any other things you do in your life that are similar with the ball where you kind of use it to where a normal person might not?
I don't wear matching socks.
A time saver. I see you.
Well, I mean, I've been worse at it. I think it's because I have too many friends with too many businesses. So I have 40 shirts of everybody. So I used to literally buy black and white T-shirts, some Steve Jobs shit. And I would buy 10 pair of Dickies, at the beginning of the year. And I just wear Dickies and a white or black T-shirt. And that's it. No thought. Just, I always wear the same shoes. She'll tell you if I go out to eat or all my friends, I have one meal at every place and I don't get anything else.
Yeah.
I don't like thinking about all that stuff or having to go somewhere and then I go, oh, let me try this. And it comes back and it sucks. I'm I get
that
this
ruins
steak
your day
at that place only. I get this chicken cheesesteak at this place. I get a ham sandwich at that place.
Yeah, for sure.
And then if you forget your meal, they're like, oh, no, he gets it like this because you've been going there for so long.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a cool way to kind of strategically plan your way to be. That's pretty cool.
Outside of that, I do everything weird, I would say, but I can't think of any
specifics
other than tattoo on my face or something.
What are some habits you would like to form, or maybe just an example of one?
I'd love to be just more disciplined in just getting stuff done. You know what I mean? I'm more of a procrastinator.
Yeah.
So I think it's from being an artist. I would say I'm a artist brain. So then I have a hard time I'll engineer this big thing and then I want it to be perfect or a certain kind of way. So then I can't start until it's that way. So then I'm continuously building this thing in my head instead of just doing it.
Yeah.
And then 3 months into it, they're like, all right, you ready? We're going to do it tomorrow. And I'm like, I'm totally ready. And I'll do it that night.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I study for tests. That's how I do everything in it. It works for me, but it stresses me the fuck out. I'm like, why don't I just, why didn't I do it last week?
For real.
But I don't think I work without the stress. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude.
Even skateboarding, I would, if you said to ollie, I can ollie this high. If you told me to ollie over this, I could. if you told me to ollie over a picnic table, I can ollie over that. Like I can ollie over what's in front of me. But if you just tell me to take over the world and there's no challenge in front of me, I'm kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
for real. Dude, music is a huge thing. I can resonate with what you were saying so much. I tend to do weird stuff when, like, if I have a gig coming up, all right, we're practicing these songs, we're on top of it, this, that, and the other thing. If I'm picking up my guitar and I don't have, like, COVID's been so weird to my music. I'm playing these weird things. Like, I'm just like off time, weird doodling stuff that no one, it's like doodling. Like
that's almost what happened in my jiu-jitsu, because I got like hurt too many times. I tore my pec like off, and then I have cervical radiopathy, so they want to fuse my neck in like 3 places. So basically, like nothing, like lost all my strength in my arms and all that stuff. So it was like battles with not wanting to do it, wanting to quit, just like what does it do for me? I can't do it well enough. You know what I mean? Now I'm like losing my train of thought. What were you saying the last thing?
Like basically like how it started with like what are the habits you want to form, but how if you were procrastinators and if we don't have an object like an obstacle.
I used to be like, all right, I'm going to do this competition. I want to win. You know what I mean? Like you get fired up and you train specifically to win whatever it is. And then after you get hurt or like if you don't have no goal written down, you just kind of go in circles. So then my jiu-jitsu got good because I got to experiment, but it was all experiments. So then failed experiments, you know what I mean? Like I start doing things that like my white belts will watch and I'm like, don't mimic that. Like,
for
I'm
real.
over here.
Dude.
I'm drawing abstract pictures that don't make sense right now. So don't watch
you need to be good at these other things before you can try this bullshit thing that I'm trying. Like don't even like I'm just like this.
Like playing games with myself to keep myself interested in something I've done for so long and try to like figure out things and be like, here, don't do that. That was
exactly.
I spent a month wasting my life.
Yeah, definitely. It's so funny to hear like you are a tattoo artist yourself. And I'm like, I can draw stick figures, you know what I mean? I'm not a visual artist at all, but it's so interesting to hear that perspective and how similar it is. Like,
well, art's art to me, like, and that's where like jiu-jitsu really like worked for me because I had the tattoo shop and then I ended up taking over the jiu-jitsu school at Purple Belt. I wasn't ready to have a jiu-jitsu school for sure. So then I just took it over and just kind of ran with it, but like drawing, I don't feel as confident. I don't feel like I'm good at it. You know what I mean? And like, from the day I did jiu-jitsu the first time, it felt like it made sense. Like I felt like I'm the animal that this thing is. You know what I mean? So it's not boring to me. And like outside of injuries, if there was no fatigue and no injury, I could roll every day. Like if I got paid by the hour to roll, I would be rich. You know, I would just fucking roll.
For real. Definitely.
And I think anything you can enjoy that much, you're going to be better at it.
Yeah, especially when you can wake up and it's not like, oh, I got to go do that thing. Mm-hmm. It's so funny with jiu-jitsu. A friend of mine yesterday, I was at Studio 84, and he felt like shit. Like he was like practically napping during the instruction portion. But then once we started rolling, he was like afterwards, he's like, dude, like I feel night and day better than I did, before.
Like if I do a seminar, like go to one, I'm like dying. Like I'm not a good driller. I'm not a good like, classroom guy. And then like I'll roll like afterwards at seminars and I got like destroyed and just rolled terrible because I'm just like, I don't feel like being here anymore. I'm ready for a nap. Like I get like socially drained. I'm super introverted, so it's like it's a lot to like have that many people in a room or like deal with this many emotions and like all that kind of stuff.
That makes sense. Do you have advice for other introverts that might be in jiu-jitsu or trying jiu-jitsu out in the
I feel like jiu-jitsu is filled with introverts because it can be just you. You know what I mean? Like you train with other people, but you're the only one who saves your ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can. I feel like for the most part, people are quiet. You know what I mean? Like it's not like overly talkative, follow you around. Like people let you alone in jiu-jitsu outside of like helping.
I find that is common. I agree.
The best thing I found for being an introvert was the Carl Jung personality thing, like the personality test, and then learning like just your quirks and stuff and not feeling like awkward because you're not loud. Because I feel like extroverts like rule the world to a certain degree. Like they don't, but like you think they do.
They outwardly they do.
Like, oh man, that guy like has all the attention. Yeah. And then you don't seek.
You're just comparing your behind the scenes to his highlight reel that he's throwing out there, kind of thing.
So I don't know. I think like jiu-jitsu's like really good for loners because you can build the confidence to stand alone if you were like somebody who couldn't do that. Yeah. And then, like I said, you can, outside of needing a person to drill with or whatever, you can essentially take the journey by yourself. Like you could even not have a gym. You could be a Ronin and just travel and learn jiu-jitsu. Like you don't need people outside of like people in the community, but you can be detached from it for the most part.
Yeah, especially like modern times, right? I feel like from what I've heard from a lot of
introverts are the ones surviving now because everybody else is like, I don't know how to deal without being around somebody for 10 minutes.
For real. For real. That's funny as hell. So let's talk a little bit about like your history in jiu-jitsu. Like where did you come from and like how did you become the black belt? Like you're the owner of BCBJJ. Like what was your journey getting here? Like who gave you your black belt?
Started off essentially 12 years ago. I started when I was 30, end of 2008, so I was like 29. Yeah. Shane Mock had Berks County Brazilian Jiujitsu. Actually, Keith Neff started it first, and 2003, I think we started. I got there, like I said, 2008. I wanted to start like 5-6 years earlier. I actually went to Alex Brito's place, Alliance, which is now another friend of ours, has it in Westchester. And
oh shit, it's in Westchester, like the city.
Yep.
Dude, I lived right by that gym.
It's like near Gay Street or whatever.
Yeah, dude, it's like right there. And
East Coast Floats is there.
I met a guy that went there like maybe a month or two before the quarantine, and then once the quarantine happened, I never got to visit them. Like he invited me.
Really great school. We train there on Sundays a lot. They have open mat. My tattoo shop at the time, I opened one up in Phoenixville, and I needed to cross train or like get rolls in, so I went down to Alliance to have one in Phoenixville. Yeah, met those guys back then, and we just been friends ever since. Forget what I was even talking about.
Yeah, like how you got your black belt. Like the whole path to where we are now.
Yeah, so that was.
And where was BCBJJ at the time?
Toll House shops. Do you know those? Singing Spring.
No.
It's like a little like shop. You know where Dairy Queen is on?
Yes.
It's right next to that. So they had like a music store there and stuff before. Yep. So we started there. It was like 500 square feet. The blue mats that are around the wall were the whole floor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so the place, like you'd walk in, and it was like 500 square feet of jiu-jitsu, and that was it. Shane, at the time, had a deal to go to Allentown, this other school, and literally just teach and not have to deal with like the politics of running a school. So that, like, he at the time served him. So I ended up buying the school from him. We had like 10 people or so, and then I guess I was a purple belt, so it was like weird taking over the school. Like I had other purple belts and like people who had been there technically longer than me. Then we moved to the second location, which was the Toll House shop. The carpet warehouse place, which was that place was huge. So we had like 5,000 square feet, but it wasn't really nice. Like it was shared with other people, so it was like hard to make it like cleaned up and like what I wanted. So we were there for a bunch of years, and then we moved here. I'm gonna say 2 years ago now. I had like 2 months notice or a month and a half notice to like leave that place and get a new place.
Oh damn, dude!
So then we started here. This place has been awesome, especially now. Like some people don't like the warehouse kind of thing. I think it's awesome. Like
I dig it, dude. It's got like a Rocky vibe in here, especially like the '80s like thing. Like this vibe here, dude, is perfect.
And then you have to do the climbing wall or do whatever.
You have room for all these things, right? There's so much room for activities.
And you don't got to pay $10,000 a month.
Yeah,
just have like a window and some space. Like you can actually afford to be in a place like this and give more jiu-jitsu instead of charge just to keep the doors open.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially like you had like a Black Friday deal going. what you guys charge versus what a normal jiu-jitsu gym, like especially in like a Westchester kind of town where it's like a more wealthy city, dude. Like for Reading, this is a gem, dude. This is like the quality of the instruction, like the people that are in here, like, and like, you know, you let outsiders come in, so you're constantly getting new talent coming in and out, like visiting. That's such a huge thing, the cross training.
People are so scared. Like, if you're at this point in jiu-jitsu, I could see maybe a long time ago when, like, it was literally to the point where if you were on this team and I was on that team, you could like train certain moves, go to a tournament. I wouldn't necessarily know them because the information wasn't traded as much. Now, like, everybody has a BJJ Fanatics, you know what I mean? Or YouTube or something. Like, it's hard to get hit with a move you've never seen before. Like, you can at least
if you're in it,
like,
if you're not a white belt, you've seen it all pretty much.
And then, like, because of that, and because jiu-jitsu's not like, say, like old Japanese art where they're like, this is what we do, hasn't ever changed, and this is how it's done. Like, it's more like, okay, well, we've been doing this for a while. That doesn't work anymore. Like, evolution happened, and now we don't fight in that spot, or we've countered this thing, and then we just, like, leg locks are a good example now, like how far they've come in a short period of time because people decided to really dive into that. And then
there's like the instructionals, like you were mentioning, like on BJJ.
And the instructionals are good now. Like, an instructional when I was a white belt wasn't really good. You know what I mean? It was dubbed, so you couldn't really understand what I was saying.
Oh, damn, dude.
Nobody spoke English.
Yeah.
And then, like, it was not like good details. Like, okay, man, this is a Kimura, and you do it like this. You know? And then now, like, people are like drawing like geometry maps and like physics and like
3 centimeters in this direction. It's the optimal braking mechanics. Like, yeah, definitely. I can speak like directly to that because I just helped Rob Deagle, who's a DDS guy, film his leg lock instructional. Like, he did a few of them I helped him with, and it's crazy. Like, I wasn't really in that world before. Like, I'd never even watched an instructional before he asked me, and then I started like, oh, I need to know what the fuck these look like. And it's cool, man. It's so cool that that's a thing now. Especially like with the quarantine, like a lot of people are looking for that right now. Like, they're looking for good quality stuff, and there's plenty of like scam stuff out there.
I had like a weird thought process, like when I first started, and for a while, like, where I didn't want to like copy anything. I wanted to like take the information and like get my own version of it. But it's like, that's like trying to draw from only your head these days. Like, you need references. You need you need people better than you to like give you ideas and just keep growing.
It's a shortcut, man. It's just take it. You're not gonna get further.
I used to view it more like, and it was probably from getting like a school early and not like knowing, but like I was like, oh, I don't want these people to think I'm just like stealing stuff off the internet and teaching it. Versus like now as a black belt, I'm stealing everything from everywhere and just trying to make it better or incorporate it, or just at least.
You're weeding out what you think is bullshit too. I think that's another thing. It takes really, like, even to this day, some of this stuff, I'll send like leg lock stuff to my leg lock guys. I'll be like, is this real? Does this work? Like, this looks kind of like bullshit.
Stuff like technically, that works, but you're not going to get this level
this isn't
going to
work in comp. So it's interesting that people like the white belts don't understand, whatever they're seeing on, YouTube might not work. And it takes your educated mind to go, this part of that's bullshit, but this is how I do that.
But it's part of a white belt's job to go out and be a white belt too.
Yeah, for sure.
Man. Like, that's like telling a kid to only do adult shit.
Yeah.
Like, they might be a great business person, but they're going to be a fucked up kid.
Yeah. It's going to be a fucked up kid. Yo. But definitely, man. I the exploration thing, I encourage all the time. I think we have a wrestler at my gym right now who's a white belt, and he does some really cool, like, his stand-up is excellent, but some of the things, like, when I'll critique, like, a technique here, and I can kind of see where his mind's coming from, because wrestlers they hate going to their back, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things that they kind of, I don't know, that's like a wrestler.
But it's because
don't want to get pinned.
They do it because it was a disadvantage not to from where they came from. So then most of my like wrestler guys that come in, I try to take wrestlers and tell them not to lose any of the aggression or any of that like fire, but put it on hold and then take your ego away and be like, sit on your butt, play guard, learn how to do all this stuff. Because then you can fall back on jiu-jitsu. You can wrestle your way around.
Yeah.
But, like, learn jiu-jitsu, too. Just, like, if it's the opposite way, you know, like, I want my jiu-jitsu guys to learn how to wrestle at the very least so you can anti-wrestle a wrestler and then beat him with jiu-jitsu. But one or the other can beat the other if you don't know anything about the other.
Yes, 100%. Especially in my experience, I lost a fight to a guy who was a better wrestler because he was just gaming points on me. And I'm like, come on, fucking engage me. I had 2 submissions on him, but he had more points and he won by the ref decision. I'm like, come on, man. But it's my fault. At the end of the day, I remember like when you lose, you're like, fuck. But the next day, I like to decompress and go, okay, this is what I need to train. I need to be mature. I'm like thinking in that way.
Well,
it
depends how
help.
you lose. Because like sometimes like we'll go to a tournament, say we have like 10 guys compete.
Yeah.
And there's times when like 9 people lose and one guy gets third, and you're like, everybody's, you know what I mean? And it's not like the best day, but then depending how they lose, I don't mind the loss. I'm like, all right, well, you guys went out and lost doing this, and this, like trying to do the right things and then getting caught just because you were a little behind or like you just didn't understand it right away. But going out and doing the wrong things to try to win, and then even winning, I find less impressive than losing correctly. Because losing correctly, you're going to get to where you need to be, and you're going to be better tomorrow versus staying here. It's like the guy at the gym who tries to lift heavy weights first and never gets strong and just keeps improperly throwing weights around.
Yeah.
And that skinny guy who just keeps chipping away, next thing you know, he's the fucking bodybuilder in the corner.
Hell yeah. And he's not as injured. So do you have any advice for guys who are like old, like you started like in your late 20s, like you're 30, What advice do you have to some guys that might be starting jiu-jitsu late, like to avoid injuries? There's like something that you wish you would have known at that age or something?
I'm like a mix on that, because I came from the like forged in fire mentality, and that's how like I do a lot of things. Like I jump off the cliff, read the book on the way down. And that's just like how that's just the way like I approach stuff, because otherwise I'm procrastinating, I won't do it.
Read the book on the way down. I'm stealing that from you. That's funny as shit. Oh.
So yeah, what was I saying? The
advice for like
like
older start.
Getting hurt. I've been like so hurt, and it's like I said, it's a catch-22. Like I've learned jiu-jitsu I couldn't learn without being compromised.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get the goals I wanted with the physicality I have left, because like the cost to reward's not necessarily right.
Yeah.
So I would tell people going hard is needed. You need to find who you are, and you need to push 5% harder than the 100% to be the best. You know what I mean? But no, like, try to be more scientific about the whole thing. Like if you're completely overtrained and you go train another day, that doesn't help you. Like it doesn't benefit your body. It doesn't benefit anything other than maybe it makes you tough because you learn how to grind. Yeah. And I think you need to be able to be a grinder. But if you grind yourself past having anything left, there's nothing to grind. So blending that like optimal training hard, knowing your body, not being a pussy, not like quitting early, but being like, oh, this is hurt, I'm going to take a week off to then come back and train hard, versus like I kind of just kept like sticking my hand in the pocket and then tying my belt around it and then keep rolling and then hurt the other arm, then tie my belt around that and then hurt your leg and like tie your arm to your leg. And then like my guard got good, but it got good because of those variables versus like my guard would be better with that knowledge in my body. You know what I mean? So like, and if you're 20 and you're going in here and you're just killing yourself, you can't do that till 60 if you're playing this game the whole time. For the long game, it's like any old person says, like, oh, you're gonna, you know, like, so just mind your things. And like, if it, like, I didn't do a lot of maintenance. That was like my thing. Like, I wasn't a great diet guy. I never have been. And then like the discipline to get injured, then when you come back recover and then go back to training versus I train myself back in.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, how do you train? Doesn't your arm hurt? I'm like, oh, yeah. Like I tore my bicep and I just train. You know,
I think like a big thing, I remember Rob actually told me this when I had injured my neck rolling with like a spazzy guy, and Rob was like, dude, you need to choose your training partners better.
That's a big
and
one
that's
too.
A huge one. Yeah.
I didn't do any of that as a lower belt. Like I found it interesting to be 180 pounds and beat the 300-pound guy from underneath. And sweep him, or like, you know, fight the wrong battles against like a, you know, roll upside down when you don't even know how to do that against a guy who's too big, and then
you fuck.
Dude. And you're like, oh, well, it must have been me. I'll do it again. And then you do it 5 more times, and you're like, oh. Then your coach is like, oh, we're just doing it wrong, and now you broke your neck for no reason.
For real. It's like ask questions, man. That's right now, like, you know, so cute. But like I was just rolling with a bunch of your guys today, and I'm like, hey, like one of the things I've been getting into the habit of is like, do you have any injuries? I always ask my rolling partners, like, do you have anything I need to know about, like, so I can avoid it? And then I tell them, like, hey, like, you know, I'm fucking up right here. If you could, you know, not like jump from the sky and knee me right here, that would be really cool.
I found that it's really uncomfortable on my, like, if I say, hey, I'm injured, then I feel like now you are like, okay, so I'm going to roll like this. And then if I go after you, I feel like a jerk. Like, oh, I thought you were injured. And then it's one person, like, it's hard to like. Yeah,
I definitely resonate with that, especially like I've been injured multiple times this year. So it's been a battle in my mind. And for me, I need to roll with you a bunch of times where I can turn up the heat. You know, usually
I've saved people.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
If
it's
I
about
don't know
knowing
you,
the partner.
I have to play like really safe jiu-jitsu, and like I might just be like, hey, like I have an injury, but don't like, it's nothing for you to worry about. But if I tap or I make a funny noise, like don't worry about it. Like I hurt myself. Like I shouldn't have been doing this in the first place.
Yeah, for sure, bro. That's funny, man. Yeah, so. We're getting pretty late here. How long are we in here? 2:30. That's a pretty good amount of time. Do you have any like last sentiments? Do you want to like give any shout outs?
Probably should have wrote stuff down. Just I don't know. I'm terrible at that stuff.
Well, that's all good.
Everybody like I owe like so many people like,
shout outs. Yeah.
Just in general, like between life and then especially being like the tattoo shop guy.
Yeah,
like,
I kind of want to talk about the tattoo thing actually. Like, when did you start with that? I'm actually curious because like your whole body's a canvas.
I used to skip high school, sleep in my truck till Reading Tattoo opened up, and then I'd sit there all day long, and then eventually I started apprenticing in like 98, 99, somewhere around there, and then eventually started tattooing, and I started body piercing first. And then tattooed till technically still tattoo, but I don't like tattoo necessarily.
Yeah.
But like probably actually was working till like 2010, 11, something like that.
What's your favorite tattoo that you have?
I don't even know anymore.
I mean, you're like, is basically your whole body like covered?
All but this leg, yeah.
Interesting. Do you have your butt cheeks tattooed?
I have my dick tattooed.
Oh shit!
I got this for the hooks because like
heel hooks. Oh, that's
not
fucking.
For heel, but for having hooks like for being sticky hooks.
Oh, okay.
For playing guard.
That's fucking cool, dude. I like that a lot. That's cool as shit. I like that. That's actually like that's a very cool jiu-jitsu tattoo. That's probably the coolest jiu-jitsu tattoo. That's awesome, man.
I put this like this is the first one I got. It's a battery that's like, so that's my energy runs off jiu-jitsu.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, like your like Green Lantern core
it's basically
thing.
like the Iron Man or whatever. It's supposed to be like his thing, but it's just a jiu-jitsu battery instead of like the.
That's funny. No, that's awesome, man. All right, brother. Well, it was an awesome time having you on the show. We definitely got to get some shooting. Hopefully, ammo cheapens up here pretty soon. Maybe we can get involved with Phil. Yeah. And do another course or something. But thank you guys. Make sure you follow BCBJJ. All Erik's stuff is over here under his name.
Come take a free class.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I mean,
and just if you haven't done jiu-jitsu, like, do it.
Yeah, really,
it's
man.
Worth checking out.
Hell yeah, man.
Or just any of this stuff, you know what I mean? Just paying attention.
Yeah, dude. Situational awareness is very important right now.